rethink where do we want our supply chains to come from? Which countries do we want to support? In fact, a lot of these countries that are poor are pro-American, and we ought to frankly get in there and help build their infrastructure so that we can build relationships.
It would help the immigration too.
Absolutely.
That people are just still looking for new opportunities or any opportunities. Robert, your expertise, international relations, and you've also seen a lot of war. Afghanistan. Liz Cheney was on with us a short time ago. She wrote an open letter to Mike Pompeo. We need to see the deal that's being cut. No side deals. We need to see it all.
Yeah.
Are you optimistic these 7 days will lead to peace?
No. I am a realist. My view is that Afghanistan is a nightmare of sorts, because if you get in and don't find a way to get out, you're in trouble. But on the flip side, if you abandon that country right now, we will see another 9/11, and we don't want to see that. What we want to do is work with them in a methodical way to try to create a degree of stability inside that country right now. We should not be withdrawing completely. We should be working with them. I don't think the peace deal is real. I think the peace deal is intended to put something on paper that allows us to pull troops back. And my concern is not that we shouldn't bring troops home. We obviously, if we don't need them there and they're at risk, then we should bring them home. But if they are serving the purpose of a thumb in the dike, so that we do not end up with a resurgence of, I could name you some terrorist groups that are active in there that people don't know the names of. But your bottom line is, if we don't stay engaged, we may face another infrastructure development. ISIS would love to have nothing better than a power projection position, and we don't want that.
30 seconds left. Iran, to me, has never been as vulnerable as it is right now. Is that what you read?
Iran. Yes, it is highly vulnerable. The president has done exactly what he said he would do. He's imposed a maximum pressure campaign that will lead to one of three outcomes. There will either be regime change, there will be a negotiation because they're negotiating from now a position of real weakness, or you will see some kind of an in-between where the people begin to speak up. The people are outraged right now, honestly, inside Iran.
41% showed up in an election that they were commanded to show up for.
That's right.
And they gave them the middle finger.
That's right. Parliamentary elections, they knocked out every reform candidate. This is a theological totalitarian state, and the United States is doing the right thing for the first time, stopping them.
Robert Charles, it was the right thing for you to come by. I really appreciate it. Our audience is better for it. Brian Kilmeade Show from CPAC. Thanks for listening. Back in New York tomorrow. The latest trends in skincare is instant results. Introducing the brand new Genucel RH from Chamonix. Genucel RH delivers next-gen retinol anti-aging effects with zero redness or irritation. Plus, the RH complex provides hyaluronic acid. It's crucial for superior retinol effects. Here's what Susan from Toms River, New Jersey said. The Genucel RH is a game changer. Bags under my eyes are history. It feels so soft and luxurious now. I even use it for my redness on my left cheek and on my laugh lines. Thank you, Chamonix. Home run. The new Genucel RH is leading the industry once again. It makes bags and puffiness, hyperpigmentation, and even redness a thing of the past. Order brand new Genucel RH now. Get Genucel jawline treatment and Genucel immediate effects absolutely free. Call 800-754-6860, 800-754-6860, or go to Genucel.com. Oh, also, Genucel RH is a non-irritant, non-comedogenic, safe, in the sun, highly moisturizing. Your eyes have never looked better like Susan's, or your money back. So call or go online, 800-754-6860 or Genucel.com. That's Genucel.com.
If you're 55 or older, listen up. Between October 2007 and March 2009, the Dow lost over 54% of its value, and it took over 5 years to recover those losses. Historically, there was a market downturn every 5 to 7 years. So just when we're getting back to even, you're already looking at another potential downturn, and no investor can tell you when that's going to happen. Everyone's just guessing. Do you want to guess with your life savings? After personally losing 35% of my family's life savings in the crash years ago, I discovered 2 strategies to stop worrying about when to buy or sell, because when the market goes up, your money grows. When it crashes, you lose nothing. When it bounces back, your money grows again without having to make up those losses. So stop gambling and replace it with peace of mind. So grab your cell phone and listen to a free recorded message for more information. Call us right now at 800-861-1776. Again, it's 800-861-1776. Call now.
Your home for Sean Hannity. KDWN Las Vegas, KKLZ HD2 Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
detected cases for the first time.
The World Health Organization says the coronavirus continues to spread around the globe. Investors are spooked by the impact of the coronavirus on health and economics. Correspondent Christine Romans reports stocks dropped sharply again today after an ominous forecast.
Goldman Sachs saying that they expect no earnings growth this year. Companies will actually lose money in the first half of the year. That's their new baseline. And then they go further. They say if you have a prolonged problem, a pandemic, that could cause a recession in the U.S.
On the health and safety side of the ledger, medical correspondent Dr. Sanjay Gupta reports the U.S. may now have its first unexplained coronavirus case, which could be a sign of feared community transmission.
It means that the virus is starting to spread within the community. We obviously know that that's been happening in other areas around the world. It had not been documented in this country yet, but I will tell you, public health officials have been thinking that this wasn't a question of if, but when, and that now is the when.
More from correspondent Dan Simon in Northern California.
This is the 60th case of the coronavirus in the United States, the 28th in California. But remember, most of those people were infected on that cruise ship in Japan. Now it's just the proverbial wait-and-see game to see what happens.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says Congress is making progress on providing funding to respond to the crisis.
We're coming close to a bipartisan agreement, and the Congress says how we can go forward with a number that is a good start.
When a vaccine is ready, Health Secretary Azar says it will be affordable.
We will work to ensure that there are appropriate protections to ensure the affordability of any vaccine produced out of joint venture work that taxpayers are funding.
Debbie Birx, a longtime health official, has been appointed as the White House coronavirus response coordinator. On Wall Street, the Dow down 441. I'm Mike Moss.
Paid for by Bank on Yourself.
This report sponsored by your Southern Nevada Chevy dealer. Emergency crews with the crash 15 southbound at Tropicana. The on-ramp still a factor. Also an accident on the 95 northbound at Charleston at the on-ramp, and a crash 95 in the West Valley southbound at Cheyenne Avenue. On the surface streets, an accident reported in North Las Vegas on Craig Road eastbound at 5th Street. Police and fire were the scene. Celebrate President's Day at your Southern Nevada Chevy dealer. Choose from great cashback or lease offers or even low APR financing. Hurry to a Southern Nevada Chevy dealer and drive away in a new Chevrolet. I'm John Michaels from the K-Dawn Traffic Center.
Get the rest you deserve with Helix Sleep. Helix makes personalized mattresses to fit your unique body type and sleep preferences and give you the best sleep of your life. Go to helixsleep.com and get up to $200 off mattress orders.
I'm Jim Snyder.
And I'm Marie Mortera. We want to thank you for making News 3 your #1 choice for news.
Every weeknight at 11, you can count on us to have the big story of the day.
Plus breaking news that matters to you.
Jim Snyder and Marie Mortera. News 3 live at 11.
Hey, Chuck, can you explain the difference between Dollar Loan Center's locations and the typical check cashing and payday places?
Well, we don't have bulletproof glass, we don't have bars on the windows, we don't have plastic furniture. Look, our locations are more upscale, clean and safe, like banks used to be. You walk in, it's a beautiful atmosphere, DLC radio's cranked up, and immediately you feel comfortable and welcome.
And your locations have even won awards for how nice they are?
For several years in a row, the Financial Service Centers of America have awarded us with the Activia Award for Outstanding Community Service and the Star Award for Best Store Appearance. Both are national recognitions.
That was Chuck, founder of Dollar Loan Center, where you can get up to $5,000 in just minutes without a checking account or any collateral or car title. We have over 50 locations, or you can also apply over the phone or online at don'tbebroke.com.
Licensed by Nevada Financial Institutions Division. Customer must meet the normal loan qualifications. To review loan qualifications, visit us at don'tbebroke.com. Certain limitations may apply. Loans are subject to approval.
Transform your bathroom in just one day with the experts at Reborn Bath Solutions. Reborn Bath Solutions has been serving Las Vegas for over 3 decades, and right now they're offering 50% off all labor and 1 full year with no interest and no payments. You can't beat that. Make your appointment online today at rebornbathsolutions.com, and they'll give you a $50 Bed Bath & Beyond gift card just for considering them. 50% off labor, 1 full year of no interest and no payments, plus a $50 Bed Bath & Beyond gift card. What are you waiting for? Reborn Bath Solutions. They bring the showroom to you with free in-home appointments at your convenience. Visit rebornbathsolutions.com today. That's rebornbathsolutions.com. Take advantage of this amazing offer. 50% off all labor, 1 full year of no interest and no payments, plus a $50 Bed Bath & Beyond gift card. Reborn Bath Solutions, where it's done right and done in a day.
1015 FM, 720 AM. KDON, the talk of Las Vegas. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
Oh, yeah. What's up, Vegas? Good morning. It's your buddy Brian back at you, Sharp and Shapiro. It is the Vegas Take on a Thursday. Glad you could join us. Oh, yeah. Do we have a jam-packed show for you? A lot to get to, a lot to go over, including coronavirus. How serious is it? Well, according to the president, not serious at all. We'll get to that in a few minutes. At the bottom of the hour, it's our Dirty Dining segment every Thursday with Darcy Spears from Action News 13, and this is going to be interesting in hour number 2. We know about this Jim Jordan scandal, the wrestling situation, the sex scandal, child molestation, call it what you will. It's serious. It's awful. A guy by the name of Adam Disabato. He's a former Ohio State wrestler. His brother claiming that he was sexually molested. This guy says that Jim Jordan called him recently crying, pleading with him not to tell the story. This guy is going to join us in hour number 2 and tell his story, his side of the situation. That's coming up in hour number 2. Also, this horrible mass shooting that took place in Milwaukee, 6 people dead, including the gunman. What are the circumstances surrounding it? Why? How? We'll talk about that coming up in hour number 2. And I love this show. I absolutely love these guys. It's one of the funniest shows on TV, the reality show Impractical Jokers. Now they have a movie that is spread throughout the country in theaters. Joe Gatto is one of those Impractical Jokers. He's going to be joining us live in hour number 3. I'm telling you, these guys are hilarious. There's a story that came out in the Review Journal, even though it's on the 4th page of the sports section, which makes absolutely no sense. I'll talk about that a little bit, but it is about UNLV athletic director Desiree Reed-Francois apparently in the mix to get the UCLA athletic director position, which is not a surprise to me at all because I heard about this over a year ago. She's denying it, but we'll talk about it coming up in hour number 3. And Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports as well will be joining us in hour number 3 as well. I want to start with coronavirus because this is a story that is a serious one. The president held a press conference yesterday. Mike Pence, he says, is in charge of it. And here's what Donald Trump said yesterday in praising Mike Pence and putting him in charge of the coronavirus response.
We're doing something else that's important to me because he's been terrific in many ways, but he's also very good on health care. And we really followed him very closely. A lot of states do. When Mike was governor, Mike Pence of Indiana, they've established great health care. They have a great system there, a system that a lot of the other states have really looked to and changed their systems. They wanted to base it on the Indiana system. He's very good. And I think, and he's really very expert at the field. And what I've done is I'm going to be announcing exactly right now that I'm going to be putting our Vice President, Mike Pence, in charge. And Mike will be working with the professionals, doctors, and everybody else that's working. The team is brilliant. I spent a lot of time with the team over the last couple of weeks, but they're totally brilliant. And we're doing really well. And Mike is going to be in charge, and Mike will report back to me. But he's got a certain talent for this.
A certain talent for this. Okay, so hold on. Let me get this right. We'll get to the actual coronavirus and how ill-informed Donald Trump is in a second when it comes to this stuff. He's putting Mike Pence in charge of this. This is a man who has preyed off science. This is the anti-gay prayer buffoon that is Mike Pence. Let me explain, folks, what I mean by that. The staunch conservative, Mike Pence, his health policies helped ignite a massive public health crisis in his own state. He shut down a needle exchange program that had severely curtailed the spread of HIV. And then the virus infection rates exploded. And then Pence, 2 days after, said he would pray on the matter because really that'll solve all medical stuff, right? I'm telling you, Mike Pence is one of those idiots where if your son or daughter is sick or somebody in your family is sick, you're going to pray instead of taking medication because he is a buffoon. That's why. He is a buffoon. Then 2 days after he said he would pray, he relented and reinstated the program. He's also has a track record of questioning science. That's right. This is a fact. Your vice president wrote an op-ed in 2000 falsely claiming that smoking doesn't kill. How dumb do you have to be? And how much of a moron do you have to be when you let your religious beliefs get in the way of thinking that smoking doesn't kill people? Is there any logical human being in society today that would tell you otherwise? Well, Mike Pence was one of those people. Who knows? He might think the same thing today. And this is the guy that Donald Trump puts in charge of the coronavirus. A man who said smoking doesn't kill. A man said he would pray in the matter of this needle exchange program. Well, the praying didn't seem to help, Mike, because the infection exploded, rates exploded in your own state, and you looked like a clown. This is not 1975. And by the way, even in 1975, people thought that smoking did cause serious health concerns. This was in 2000. This was 20 years ago, when they had to put warnings on the packs of cigarettes saying that it could cause cancer. But Mike Pence in 2000 said smoking doesn't kill. Is this the idiot that you want in charge of the coronavirus? Is this the religious nut job? I mean, not to mention, this is the same guy who at one point in his career believed in conversion therapy for homosexuals. I guess you could put him in charge of the homosexual virus. He'd probably do a good job there. He would probably call that a virus. He'd probably do a good job with the homosexual virus. Put him in charge of that if you're anti-gay. He'd probably do a great job there, I'm sure.
You think Mike Pence would would actually classify homosexuality as a virus, Brian?
Okay, well, obviously I'm making a joke. Obviously you didn't get it. I was kind of mocking him and making a joke because the guy's a moron. Can we admit, JD, that in 2000, if you stated, like what Mike Pence stated, that smoking doesn't kill, you're an idiot? Can we all agree on that? But forget about politics. If you thought in the year 2000 that smoking didn't kill, there's something wrong with you. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, we can probably agree on that, Brian.
Okay. JD, this is the guy Donald Trump put in charge of the coronavirus. Are you comfortable with that?
Well, you know who else said that smoking doesn't kill?
Who?
Rush Limbaugh.
Well, that doesn't surprise me at all. Rush Limbaugh is the racist
he
buffoon
has said
that he is.
On multiple occasions, and now he has advanced stage 4 lung cancer.
Okay.
So clearly that's
Yeah.
probably the wrong take.
Maybe Mike Pence can pray for Rush Limbaugh. I'm sure that'll work because Mike Pence is so good at praying, but he's not
probably
very.
already has. I would say that he has.
He's not very intelligent though, Mike Pence. I'll say that. He's not a very smart guy. Go ahead, convince me that Mike Pence is a really smart guy. The guy who thinks smoking doesn't kill. The guy who prayed for this needle exchange program. Well, guess what? The praying didn't work because the infection rates exploded, and then he relented and reinstated the program because he's an idiot. And don't worry, I'll get to Donald Trump in a few moments here. I'll get to all that. But I want to ask you guys this question, and I'll open up the phone lines. Is Mike Pence the guy that should be in charge of the coronavirus? A serious situation. Over 60 cases now in the United States. It continues to spread. People are dying. This is a very serious situation. And the prayer, the vice president, the anti-gay praying buffoon, as I like to call him, the Bible thumper, you want this guy in charge of coronavirus? You think he's going to do a good job? I bet you he'll be sitting in the White House today saying, you know what, I pray for all those people with the coronavirus. Just put on those masks. Everybody will be okay. I'm just going to go pray.
It's very holistic, and it's very effective, Brian.
To praying, yeah. It seems
absolutely.
to do a really good job. Yeah. Praying seems to do a really good job, especially for those people who were killed in synagogues and churches who were praying.
That being said, there is not a cure for COVID-19, the coronavirus, the novel virus.
Yeah, but
so there isn't really a lot that can be done. In fact, I've been told from several sources that when you wear those masks, it doesn't really do anything either.
Okay,
it just kind of spreads regardless of how you're trying to stop it,
and that
which does make it very dangerous and very scary.
Okay, well, that may be true. And even if that is true, the bottom line is this is the last guy that I want in charge of anything related to any health situation because he's preyed off science for years.
What kind of a coup would this be? If the United States already has a cure for it, Mike Pence drops it on the public, and Donald Trump and Mike Pence cure the coronavirus on an international scale.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. The anti-gay praying buffoon is not going to get that done. I can promise you. I'll open up the phone lines right now. 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call is 257-5396. I ask you this question, and I say it very seriously, by the way. And if you're unaware, Donald Trump, as we mentioned before, Donald Trump has put Mike Pence in charge of the coronavirus. Mike Pence shut down a needle exchange program that had severely curtailed the spread of HIV in his own state. The virus infection then exploded. 2 days after, he said he would pray on the matter, eventually relenting it and reinstating the program. This is also a man who has questioned science over the course of his career. He wrote an op-ed in 2000 falsely claiming that smoking doesn't kill. And this is the idiot that Donald Trump has put in place to lead the charge against the coronavirus. That's right, the anti-gay praying buffoon that is Mike Pence. The number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call if you want to join the program, 257-5396. And to call us quickly, I also want to state, if you want to watch us, we are on YouTube. Check us out, the Vegas Take page, YouTube.
If you do come watch us, Brian is actually wearing a Trump 2020 visor with a orangutan orange style hairpiece attached to it.
Trust me, it's not for my support for Donald Trump. It's mocking him.
I kind of like it. I think he looks really, really good. It's going to help Donald Trump.
Well,
he doesn't
please.
know, but it's going to subconsciously help Donald Trump.
Well, please.
Do you think that Mike Pence shut down the needle program to stop the spread of HIV because he is so anti-homosexual and he believes that homosexuals were responsible for that particular virus?
My simple answer is that is a possibility.
I mean, honest to God, do you think that's why?
My simple answer is the guy is such an idiot that is a possibility. Number to call.
Kind of a Darwinism approach, if you will?
You never know with him because he's such a moron. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Alan. Alan, you are first up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Alan?
I wanted to maybe help your listeners out a little bit. That when I was in the military, you're in a barracks, and the flu hit.
Thank you for your service, Alan. Let me just say that.
Appreciate it. Now, I wanted to point out, half the guys in the barracks got the flu, and half the guys in the barracks did not. So just because the virus is out there, it does not mean you're going to get it. But what was important, what they took a look at, was they checked our immune systems. The guys that got sick, their immune systems were depleted.
Right.
They were down. And when mine was tested and the guys that didn't get it, ours were up. So you have to take care of yourself. Basically, what does it boil down to? Don't eat bad, drink good water. Obviously, they're telling you to wash your hands, but if you do certain things and keep yourself healthy, you may very well avoid getting sick. So
And listen, Alan, I don't doubt that. Alan, I don't doubt that. Obviously, if you're in good shape and you take care of yourself, you certainly have a better chance of not getting the virus, Alan, and I appreciate that. But, my point being, I don't think praying is going to do you any good.
No, you're right. It's not.
Yeah.
It's going to be an action that you take.
Absolutely.
That you take that will help you either
No question.
Avoid it or get through it.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
No, I know exactly what you're saying, Alan, and I do appreciate that, and I agree with you. Thank you very much for the phone call, and again, thank you for your service. Appreciate that. 257-5396, the number to call. All I'm saying is that the guy who said in 2000 smoking doesn't kill, that the anti-gay praying buffoon, that is Mike Pence, this is the guy that you want in charge of this? This is the guy who has sworn off science. He's literally sworn off science, and this is the guy Donald Trump puts in charge of this. It's a sad joke is what it is. Let's go to Chris. Chris, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Chris?
Good day, sir. Good to talk to you. I've just got a question for you. When the coronavirus came out, how did we know to name it the coronavirus if we already didn't know about it and already tried to work on a vaccine for it?
Well, my understanding is that we didn't name it the coronavirus. It was people in the other country that named it the coronavirus.
And it's because the way that the virus attacks a cell, it looks like a sun.
And how we know the virus is real is because there are people that have already contracted it in this country. In fact, at least 60 people. And what is it, like I don't have the exact number in front of me, but isn't it over 100,000 people in China they've actually built a hospital to try to deal with these people? And there are people in this country that have contradicted the virus. And my question to you would be, if you don't think it's real, what would be the reason for them doing that?
to deplete the population.
Okay, Chris, appreciate the phone
So
call.
population control targeting very, very young people and infirmed adults.
So wait, hold on. Let me get this right.
The majority of people that are dying are either very, very sick and they have poor immune systems, or they're old, or they're both. And by old,
JD,
I mean 70
But
plus.
JD, it doesn't make any sense what he just said. How are you getting rid of the population? Hold on. If the virus is not real, what he said doesn't make any sense.
Well, obviously, yeah. If it's not real, then the population is clearly not diminishing.
I don't get it.
That being said, there are literally 2 billion people in China. It is one of the most difficult places to live. The real estate is out of control.
But you could order bat. But you could order bat soup if you'd like. It sounds very tasty.
There's also the conversation that the virus will be deeply affected by the heat, and it is just a cold weather virus. So we'll see if that's true as well.
You could order bat soup while you're getting a massage in China. 702-257-5396.
Snake stew.
Let's go to Marge. Marge, you are next up on the Vegas Take. Boy, that sounds scrumptious. We'll save that for Darcy Spears. Marge, what's going on? Thanks for calling in.
Hey, what's up, Marge?
Well, first of all, I just lost my appetite for lunch. And Darcy Spears coming out at 11 o'clock helps my weight loss program.
So what do you think about Mike Pence in charge of this thing, the man who swears off science?
The whole thing was a really great show yesterday. When I heard that he was going to have that, I'm thinking to myself, okay, all right, so we're in the middle of an election campaign. The big thing that he's got going for him is the economy, and now it's going to heck because of this.
Right.
So he's trying to calm down everybody. He's showing his sense of confidence because he's got the vice president with the second highest level of authority. He's now going to be in charge. And he's going to coordinate with all the departments and make sure that they're working together and not at different ends, et cetera, et cetera. It's all because he wants to calm down people.
Yep.
Make people feel like they're doing something at least.
Yeah.
And I heard one show where he thinks by April this will be over, which I didn't hear it, but I heard it secondhand. I cannot believe that. Plus, the other thing is they're saying that this vaccine or whatever they're working on won't even be available until next year. Because they've got to go through testing protocols and everything else. That takes a very long time.
What show said that?
This was our friend Stephen Colbert mentioned that.
Wow.
So it could have been just an act that he has. But sometimes he comes up with actually what was said.
Right.
So I never heard it firsthand.
I mean, there's a lot of things in life with no guarantees, but that is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. There's no evidence to support that. Marge, it's always...
And especially with the testing, that takes a long time.
No question.
That made absolutely no sense to me.
No, it makes
good call, Marge.
It makes no sense to anybody. Marge, I appreciate the phone call. Thank you.
One thing that kind of scares me about this virus is there was a tourist, not a tourist, a stewardess who actually, a flight attendant who actually worked on an airplane that went from Seoul, South Korea, I believe, to somewhere in California, an American citizen. And that particular flight attendant actually contracted the coronavirus, but she had a mask, or he or she had a mask on. She was not in direct contact with anybody who actually had the virus. But if you can contract the virus like that on an airplane,
well, it's scary.
I mean, that means it's totally airborne. That means any droplet of that comes even near you is going to legitimately affect you. Hopefully, he or she gets better. But if this person is to die or is to become extremely ill over the next couple of weeks, then that could be a really terrifying thing.
If you told Mike Pence that very serious story, his response to you would be, well, let's just pray for her. Let's go back to the phone lines. 702-257-5396. By the way, my new nickname for Mike Pence is the AGPB, the anti-gay praying buffoon. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Steven. Steven, you are next up on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Steven?
Yeah, good morning, Brian and JD.
Good morning.
How you doing, Steven?
I'm hanging in. I'm in a spot where it's a little tougher in here, so speak loudly.
Steven, you're next on the Vegas Take. What do you have to say about the coronavirus?
Hey, Steven, is that
I've got
better?
2 points.
Go ahead!
I think that actually Mr. Pence was right. I've dealt with cancer patients for years.
What?
And I think that the cancer kills people that smoke, not smoking.
Wait, hold on.
But that's not why I called.
Well, hold on a second. You said it. No, hold on.
I heard it.
Steven, pay attention. Pot him down for a second. Pot him down for a second. Steven, Mike Pence said that smoking doesn't kill. There's not one doctor on the planet that would agree with that statement. There's not one doctor that would. If you smoke, you have a much better chance of getting cancer and many other illnesses, which eventually, unless you're extremely lucky, leads to death. So what do you mean you agree with Mike Pence? Mike Pence is basically saying cigarettes are not bad for you. They don't kill you. He wrote an op-ed about it. So with all due respect, what do you mean when you say you agree with Mike Pence, sir?
Any of that in, or was JD, was I just
All right,
over there?
just hang up on the guy.
I got to tell you, Stephen.
Holy
Brian
smokes.
potted you down, which means he turned down your volume. He seems to think that whenever he says pod down, that the listeners actually understand what that means, and they don't. I've said this multiple times. But he turned down your volume, so no, we didn't hear a word that you said.
Well,
Steve.
no, I'll tell you.
Not one word.
Not true. I did hear a word he said. In fact, I heard a sentence he said.
And I think that one of my eardrums just busted from Brian's scream.
Well, he told me to scream, number one. And number two, I did hear what he said. And here's what
he didn't tell you to scream.
Here's what he
just said that he couldn't really hear.
Here's what he said to start the conversation. He said, I do agree with Mike Pence. Cigarettes don't kill. Cancer kills. It's the most idiotic thing I have ever heard in my life.
Well,
and the fact that this guy...
If cigarette smoke and smoking and being around smoke causes cancer and cancer kills, then cigarette smoke kills.
Well, of course,
right?
But that is what any person with an IQ over 20 would say, JD. You and I would like to think, have an IQ over 20. The guy who just called in has an IQ under 20. That's what it really comes down to. Mike Pence is a really dumb person. That's what it comes down to.
It's kind of funny about Pence because Pence believes that you're not born gay, right? Like,
that's another idiotic statement.
Being homosexual is a choice, which means that
thing.
he believes that the science behind homosexuality is consistent. The science behind homosexuality in his eyes is that you cannot be born homosexual. Well, that in itself is science. So how can this guy
listen,
not be pro-science when...
I'll tell you what's a choice. If you'd like to be an anti-gay praying buffoon, the AGPB, which is Mike Pence, that's also a choice. Let's go back to the phone lines.
Good one.
Let's go to Ron. Ron, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Ron?
Hey, enjoying it, guys. Enjoy the show every morning when I get up. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ron. We appreciate you.
Just a couple things. I was under the assumption, I guess, I'm kind of an older man here. Isn't that recirculation of that air on the airport? Isn't everybody breathing the same air?
Well, to an extent, you're right. And here's the problem, Ron. Those questions are very fair questions to ask, and I don't think everybody knows all the answers, Ron. And that's what kind of scares me a little bit. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, nobody really knows exactly what's going on here. You know what I'm saying, Ron? And I'm not saying that's going to happen anytime soon. But all I'm saying, Ron, is the last guy I want in charge of this is a guy who fairly recently said that cigarettes don't kill. A guy that, you know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying, Ron? A guy that prays off science is not the guy that I want in charge of this thing, you know?
Well, especially one who prays off science, but then also stands by these scientific convictions, like the fact that homosexuality is something that it's a choice. You can't be born gay.
Go ahead, Ron. I got about 30. Go ahead.
No, it's all right. Well, you want to think maybe a little more credibility. You know what I mean? That would help a lot. Calm everybody down.
I agree, Ron.
Why not put Dr. Ben Carson or somebody in charge of this?
Well, I don't think, and by the way, thank you for the call, Ron. I apologize. I'm up against a hard break here, my friend, but I do appreciate the phone call, and I appreciate you getting up in the morning and listening to us every day. We appreciate you. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to continue this conversation. We'll take some more calls on the other side of the break, but I also want to get a little bit more of Donald Trump's response on this. We'll also give you Rush Limbaugh's response. What a shocker, folks. It's idiotic. We'll get to that coming up next. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this. We'll continue the conversation. And by the way, the number to call if you want to be a part of it is 702-257-5396. This is the Vegas Take. Be back right after this on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
Paid for by Bank on Yourself.
Would you get on an airplane if you knew it had a 50% chance of crashing? You may be riding that plane right now. If you have your money in a 401k or IRA and you plan to take out the recommended percentage each year when you retire, your chance of running out of money is 50%. 50%. But there's a better and safer way to secure your income in retirement. Discover how in a free book called Rescue Your Retirement. This wealth building strategy has never had a losing year in more than a century. In fact, even the man who invented the 401k now prefers this method instead. Get Rescue Your Retirement free for just a small shipping charge and enjoy a safe landing and a comfortable retirement. Get this free book and make sure you don't run out of money. Hurry, this offer is extremely limited. To get your free copy, just go to growwealthsafely.com. That's growwealthsafely.com to discover how to rescue your retirement. growwealthsafely.com.
The U.S. up to speed to provide widespread testing for the coronavirus.
40 labs are qualified to already be doing that. And then by this weekend, all 93 labs around the country that get these will have either CDC or on Monday, will have the private sector, or on Monday, a modified test that's even easier.
More from medical correspondent Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
In Korea, they've been testing thousands of people every day. In this country, besides the people that came off that cruise ship, we've tested 445 people in several weeks. Why is that? Why are we not testing enough people? Are we missing people?
The latest coronavirus case in the U.S. could be the most serious. There is no obvious link to how the person got sick, and as a result, it's feared that it is the first case of community transmission. On Wall Street, stocks are falling in fear and uncertainty. The Dow down 340. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by your Southern Nevada Chevy dealers. A crash reported I-15 southbound at the 215 Southern Beltway on the CD ramp. Also an accident on the 95 northbound at Charleston on-ramp. Vehicles mostly off-right merged to the left to get around that one. They're still slowing from approaching Charleston. And an accident on the surface streets at Lake Mead Boulevard westbound at the 95 with injuries sustained. Celebrate President's Day at your Southern Nevada Chevy dealer. Choose from great cashback or lease offers or even low APR financing. Hurry to a Southern Nevada Chevy dealer and drive away in a new Chevrolet. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Bria's Fashion Boutique is the worst. First, they asked me if I needed help finding anything. Just because I'm gorgeous doesn't mean I need help.
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
Then they tell me they're having a sale. Oh, so you're assuming I'm poor. Cool.
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial, auto, and business insurance.
Also, they tried to give me the friends and family discount. I'm not your friend, so...
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
Looking for a new job? Meet face-to-face with dozens of great companies at the LasVegasJobs.com Job Fair. Thursday, February 27th at the Texas Station from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is your opportunity to meet with some of the best employers in the Valley, offering hundreds of real jobs. Be sure to dress for success, bring lots of resumes, and be ready to apply for your new job. You can go to LasVegasJobs.com now to print your VIP pass. Find your new job Thursday, February 27th at the Texas Station from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. For more info, go to LasVegasJobs.com. That's LasVegasJobs.com.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro coming up here in just a few minutes. Action News 13's very own Darcy Spears, our Dirty Dining segment on the Vegas Take, coming up here in just a little bit. We're talking about Donald Trump's press conference yesterday. We're talking about him putting Mike Pence in charge, the vice president, also known as the anti-gay prayer buffoon. He is now in charge of the coronavirus, so I have absolutely no faith in that. Yeah, I'm using the term faith and Mike Pence in the same sentence. What a shocker there. Here's something else that's interesting. You know, Donald Trump didn't seem to have a lot of information when it came to the coronavirus or even the flu for that matter, because Sanjay Gupta, who's a pretty well-respected doctor and an analyst for CNN, asked him some questions about the coronavirus. He seemed absolutely clueless. And then he asked him a question about the flu, and Gupta had to educate him that thousands of people in this country die every year from the flu. But Donald Trump didn't seem to know it. The president of the United States, I mean, this is common knowledge, folks. Why do you think we get flu shots? So World Health Organization official Dr. Ezekiel Emanuel is now suggesting that Trump is absolutely clueless and is contradicting the real experts when it comes to the coronavirus. Have a listen to this.
So actually, I found most of what he said a little incoherent. And, you know, he's a guy who admitted that he's surprised that 25,000 to 69,000 people each year die of the flu. That just tells you how little he actually knows about public health and about the health of the American public. Because every doctor knows that, and lots of health policy experts know that. And he told you, he just revealed how ignorant he is about the situation.
Yeah, completely ignorant. You think somebody would have given him that information before this press conference. And then we have Rush Limbaugh. That's right, the racist himself. Rush Limbaugh downplaying the coronavirus. I'm sure he had a conversation with Donald Trump yesterday. Hey, can you downplay the virus for me? Can you do my dirty work for me? Here's what Rush Limbaugh had to say about this virus.
It looks like the coronavirus being weaponized as yet another element to bring down Donald Trump. Now, I want to tell you the truth about the coronavirus. The coronavirus is the common cold, folks. It looks like the coronavirus, even though it's deadly, it appears as though it's just a regular cold. That's what it appears. You know, how would you like it, Rush, if I said cancer? It appears cancer is just like a common cold. Does this moron, does this fat pig understand that people have died from this virus? Does this fat racist pig not understand how serious this situation is? Or is he just now spreading once again to his millions of listeners false information? Because that's what he just said. The coronavirus is not a common cold, you idiot. Maybe Donald Trump told you to say that. Let's give Rush another Medal of Freedom award. I mean, that's just brilliant radio right there. Absolutely brilliant. I'm telling you, it's so ridiculous what comes out of his mouth on a regular basis. Him and Donald Trump have a lot in common. Now I know why Donald Trump gave him the Medal of Freedom award. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go.
I actually think he's in line for the Nobel Peace Prize at this point.
Yeah, the Medal of Racist Award. That's what I think he's in line for. 257-5396. Let's go to Paul. Paul, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's on your mind, Paul?
Hey, what's up, Paul?
Hey, guys. Good morning. Just, like for me, I just recently started listening and keeping up with politics, maybe the last 6-7 months because of the Democrats, because they made such a big deal about President Trump.
I thought you were going to say because of the Vegas Take. I'm very disappointed, Paul.
No, honestly though, the Vegas Take is the only one. If I was playing baseball,
yeah,
my political views would be right center.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And
Yep.
that's kind of what you guys are. I think you guys will go to both sides,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the reason I listen. I listen
Well, I
to all
appreciate
three
that.
networks. I listen to the left, the right, and then I listen to you guys, and I make my own decision.
Well, I appreciate that, Paul. That's the way we like it. Thank you.
Yeah, but my thing is one question I have is, is there any other president that has? I know Brian, you hate him, and my advice to you is, you hate him the way I hate the New England Patriots and the Alabama football. Okay, and so what I ended up doing is I was making myself miserable over it, and I realized that the more I hate on them, the better they do.
But Paul, can I
And
ask
then
you a question?
yeah.
I'm sorry to interject. And by the way, I understand why you hate the New England Patriots. You're not alone. And I'm not alone with people that dislike Donald Trump. But with that being said, Paul,
No, I know that.
I want to ask you this. What do you think of Donald Trump putting Mike Pence in charge of this thing, the coronavirus, a man who's preyed off science, a man who said smoking doesn't kill people fairly recently, actually? I'm very uncomfortable with that. How do you feel?
Honestly, he's not in charge. He's the figurehead. They have experts in charge. He's just the one that they're going to report to, and they will probably write it out in third grade lettering how he should report to the country.
Well, Paul, let me say this.
He's not in charge.
Well, let me say this, Paul. My friend, I hope you are right. I really do. I'm sorry, Paul. I got to get to some other callers.
Good call, Paul. I think that putting Pence in charge, it's just kind of a lazy move by Trump. If I'm thinking someone that's going to stop this novel virus, I watched The Walking Dead last night. And episode 4, there's this doctor who just sits in this lab all day for 20 years. Went to Oxford. He's got 100 degrees. All this guy's entire life is just dedicated to just testing viruses and fixing things.
I have a problem.
I want someone like that. I don't care how terrible they are in front of the camera. I want someone like that to actually spearhead
Listen, I have a problem.
campaign to stop this in the United States, considering there's 350 million people here.
I have a problem with what you just said. How dare you call Trump lazy? The guy plays more golf than anybody else. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Lewis. Lewis, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Lewis?
Hey, guys. Look, man, if you survive the swine flu, the bird flu,
SARS,
and all
MERS,
the other nonsense that
Ebola,
the Ebola and everything that we've been scared to death of, we're gonna survive this. It's part of the norm. It happens every so often. It happened during Obama's time. It happened during Bush. It happened during Trump.
Lewis, I
Not
get
a big deal.
Well, Lewis, would you say that to the family members of those who have died from this virus?
You know what? More people die from the flu than this. And I'm not making that up, dude.
Well, I know
Things
you're not making.
happen.
I know you're not making that up, and I know it, but your president doesn't know that.
Oh my God! Look,
well, what do you mean? The president yesterday was unaware of what you just said. Now, I agree with you. The flu is very serious. Trump doesn't understand that for whatever reason. You should tell him that. You should write him a letter.
Look, you know what, dude? My life does not revolve around. I know your life has to revolve around every word that he says.
No, it doesn't.
Your job.
No, it doesn't revolve. My life
It gives you
doesn't.
something to talk about every day.
Yeah,
Every
but
day you talk about Trump. So,
well, of course,
in
he's the
this
president.
context, it revolves. Your life revolves around every word that he says.
All
The
right. Well,
reality
Lewis.
is
Okay, Lewis. We'll move on to the next caller. 702-257-5396. I will respond, Lewis, by saying this: my life does not revolve around Donald Trump. My job is not my life, although I enjoy what I do for a living. I'm not one of those people that thinks about my job 24/7. So I respectfully disagree with you. There's nothing that Donald Trump can do or say. My life will not revolve around it. But with that being said, I am wearing a Donald Trump hat today with some of his hair.
You know,
so in a way,
I would say between the show and the preparation for the show, and things like wearing "Make America Nasty Again" and Donald Trump faux hats, etc. I would say that you spend probably 80% more time than the average United States American thinking about and just dealing with and being involved with Donald Trump. I would say that you probably spend maybe 35 hours a week. Every single week.
No, I mean, my life revolves around praying 24/7 like Mike Pence.
Where Donald Trump is the focal point.
Let's take another phone call. Let's go to David. David, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, David?
Hey, good morning, guys. So my take on the coronavirus is this. Right now, globally, there are tens of thousands of people worldwide that are working on this issue, be it vaccines or caring for the sick or studying and research and all like that. So Mike Pence really is not in charge of anything. There's tens of thousands of people involved.
Okay, that might be true, but if that's the case, then why is Donald Trump saying Mike Pence is in charge?
Well, he's the figurehead. But my question for you, Brian, is this.
Yes.
If let's say thousands of people die in the United States of coronavirus, are you going to blame Mike Pence?
No, unless Mike Pence takes no action, and it's proven of what he did in Indiana. In Indiana, there was this needle exchange program, and because of his faith, the virus infection rate exploded, and then he said he would pray on the matter, and then eventually relented and reinstated the program. Now, if he does something idiotic like that, which I don't think he will do, but if he does, then I will blame Mike Pence.
So based on that, you're kind of afraid that, say 5,000 Americans die of this virus, then Mike Pence is going to do nothing about it and kind of push it aside.
I don't know if that's.
The way he handled the
I don't
situation
know. I don't know if that's the case.
Or blame something else for it.
I don't know if that's going to happen. But back to David, I want to say this: I'm not comfortable with anybody being in charge with anything health related who thought in 2000 that smoking doesn't kill. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. I think that's fair.
Well, I mean, I don't know enough about that. I hear what you're saying about that, and that is a bizarre thing to say. And
He wrote an op-ed. He wrote an op-ed in 2000. I promise you.
Listen, I'm not questioning it. I'm taking you at your word that that's what he said, and it's bizarre. I can't explain why anybody would say that.
And it's kind of scary because clearly smoking does kill. And is there any proof that a major cigarette company didn't pay him X amount of dollars to write something like that? Because why else would he write something like that?
David, I appreciate
very odd thing to write, in my opinion.
I appreciate the phone call. We do have to go to break. But again, when you write an op-ed saying smoking doesn't kill in the year 2000, not 1960, I have a serious problem with that. David, you're probably right. There's a lot of people that are working on this virus. There are a lot of people that are doing a lot of important things right now. Mike Pence isn't one of them. And for those callers that said he's just a figurehead, a talking figurehead, you're probably right. I probably agree with you, and that's a valid point. My only point that I was trying to make in this segment is, and in the last one, that a guy who would rather pray than talk about science and how to cure some of these diseases is a guy not only do I not want in charge of any virus, but a guy I don't want anywhere near the White House or being a politician, and I'll rest my case on that. All right, everybody, we got coming up next a Dirty Dining segment with Denny's and 7-Eleven. Darcy Spears from Action News 13 going to be joining us. What happened to the Slurpee machine? I hope it has nothing to do with the Slurpee machine. I had a great Slurpee last night. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Be back right after this. You're listening to The Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
If you're a man aged 45 to 80 with a history of heart disease or stroke, please listen closely to this message. Some men with a history of heart disease or stroke also have low testosterone levels, also known as hypogonadism. Symptoms of low testosterone, hypogonadism, include decreased sexual desire, fatigue, depressed mood, and loss of body hair. If you've had a heart attack or stroke in the past and experienced the symptoms of low testosterone hypogonadism, please consider our research study that is underway in Las Vegas. Qualified participants may receive testosterone replacement therapy or placebo and study-related care at no cost, as well as compensation for their time. Please call now to speak with the research study coordinator. Dial 702-534-5151. That number again is 702-534-5151. That's 702-534-5151.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. But most people don't know they are infected. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you can still have hepatitis C, a serious liver disease that often has no symptoms. In fact, people can live with hepatitis C for decades without feeling or looking sick. But over time, hepatitis C can cause serious health problems, including liver damage, liver failure, or even liver cancer. Getting tested is the only way to know if you're infected with hepatitis C. That's why the CDC recommends everyone born from 1945 to 1965 get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments are available that can cure this disease. So talk to your doctor about getting tested. It could save your life. A message from the CDC.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us. You know, you always hear these reviews of restaurants, and you always say, "Oh, this place is great." Like if you watch what is his name, Guy Fieri. If you watch the Food Network, do you ever see these guys do shows and they say, "Oh my God, that tastes terrible"? No, every bite that guy has in any restaurant, "Oh my God, this is amazing." I'm like, is this guy really being genuine? I want to hear people be honest. And if people are breaking rules and breaking health code, guess what? I want to know about it because I don't want to go there. I don't want to get sick. I don't want to get the coronavirus when I go to Denny's, right? So joining us right now on the line, she does an awesome job for Action News 13 with her Dirty Dining segments. None other than Darcy Spears. Darcy, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Thanks for having me a little early this morning. I'm great, guys.
I appreciate that. Maybe I'll have my appetite in 2 hours.
When it's lunchtime, you will have forgotten all about this. Or at least you'll be so informed that you know exactly where to go.
Listen, I don't forget about a lot of your segments. Some of them are very memorable, including the rats. That's the stuff that really gets me. Let's talk a little bit about Denny's. Now, isn't Denny's where they have the Grand Slam breakfast? I love Denny's. I go there all the time, but apparently there's Denny's in the Showcase Mall on Las Vegas Boulevard between Harmon and Tropicana that got a 38 demerit C grade. What did they do wrong?
Yeah, if you're heading down to the Strip, like the bazillions of people that were at Denny's when we showed up, that is one crowded restaurant down there. You're going to be greeted by a C grade, at least for the time being, because they had, 41, and they would have been shut down. So they just narrowly avoided shutdown for excessive demerits, but they had all kinds of issues going on at this restaurant. Hand washing was one of the biggest things. And of course, as we've talked about this before, improper hand washing is literally one of the quickest ways to spread foodborne illness. The person in charge at this Denny's apparently didn't know you're supposed to use soap when you wash your hands. A food handler wiped their face and then began flipping pancakes without washing hands.
That's awful.
Another one cracked raw eggs and continued food prep without washing hands.
Ooh.
So the potential for cross-contamination at this Denny's was really quite high.
That's disgusting.
And that's just the beginning. Hand washing might not be the sexiest of violations, but if you want sexy, let's talk about spoiled food. There was spoiled lettuce and a moldy cucumber in the make table, which means it made it out of the fridge, through someone's hands, into the make table, ready for customer service. And then they had 2 other bags of moldy lettuce in the fridge that had expired on January 11th.
Oh my God, that isn't even a cucumber, let alone eating it. You don't some women put cucumbers over their eyes? Isn't that
when they're fresh?
Yeah, that's not something that would work.
Not
that
so
you're
much
saying.
with the mold.
So what happened? You go in there, take us through it. What happened?
We go in there and we're greeted by the wafting smell of maple syrup and literally just a sea of humanity. There were so many people in there. A line of people waiting to pay, a line of people waiting to be seated.
So like 100 people in there, you think?
There were a lot.
So let me ask you a question. When you walk in there and your cameraman is with you, do people start looking at you? Like, what are they doing in there? Like, does anybody recognize you and they just like get freaked out?
Oh, that happens every time. People look at us, they start to smile. Sometimes they break out their cameras to videotape us. In this case, despite the busyness of the restaurant, one of the employees broke out his cell phone and started videotaping us. Of course, nobody wanted to talk to us. I mean, they sat there and they stared at us, and then they vacated the host stand where a bunch of people were waiting to be seated, and they kind of made themselves scarce, and, everyone's looking at us sideways. Some of the employees even started flipping their badges around.
Oh, my God.
Hide their names and pictures, and I'm like, what are you hiding?
It's like there's a drug bust. You're like the cop that's going into a house for a drug bust, and they're like the people that are flushing the cocaine down the toilet.
Yeah, no, she's clearly the new sheriff in town. That's been established.
Yeah, there's no question. So I'd like to get 2 eggs over easy with a side of bacon. And could you please make sure that our waiter and our chef do not wash their hands as they're coming out of the bathroom? I'd also like a side of molded lettuce, please.
Right?
Yeah.
And there was, cross-contamination stuff going on at the grill where they had chicken and beef being cooked on the exact same grill using the same utensil.
Oof.
Their cutting boards were dirty. The ice machine was moldy. Refrigerators were dirty inside and out. Even the ceiling was splattered with old food. So, and this is a place that health inspectors documented as having a history of not complying with the health code. So not just a one-off.
So, Darcy, we touched on this last week briefly, but we know we live in Las Vegas, and about 1.1 million people here visit every week from all over the world. The coronavirus, which we talked about last week, it has gotten seemingly more dangerous. It's spread. San Francisco just declared a state of emergency. What has come down from the health department about the coronavirus since we've last spoken?
They're talking about people being vigilant and aware, but again, trying not to induce any kind of panic or make people freak out about potentially catching this. I mean, unfortunately, it's the time of year where people around you are going to be coughing and sneezing, and that's the thing you need to look out for. You don't want to breathe in what someone else coughs or sneezes out, and that's the one thing to look out for. That's why you see people wearing masks, because it's a barrier, it's a filter between what you breathe in and what someone else is breathing out.
Oh, wait a second! I just got an email. I just got an email from Vice President Mike Pence. He says, JD, just pray. Just pray, my friend. All right, let's move on to 7-Eleven. Now, Darcy, I like going to 7-Eleven because I like putting $20 in a slot machine because I'm a degenerate gambler, but it's always a good feeling when I double it up to $40 and I get a free Slurpee out of it. I enjoy 7-Eleven, but it makes me very sad that you had to go into one of these 7-Eleven establishments. What did they do wrong, and where was this one located?
Rats, my friends. We're back on the rodent train. Just like last week, we had Rat Week on Dirty Dining. It wasn't both places this time around, but this particular 7-Eleven on Boston Avenue, which is a little street near Las Vegas Boulevard in Sahara, it was shut down for a rodent infestation.
Oh, my God.
And the health department came thanks to a customer complaint. The customer said, I found rat manure and mold in the cooler.
Oh, my God.
And so, when your customers are seeing seeing rat poop like in the fridge, that's kind of a bad thing.
Maybe
But
they should. I have an idea for them. I think there's a way that they could actually profit off of this. Why not have a rat flavored Slurpee? I don't know what that would taste like, but you know,
you get to be the first one to try that.
no, I won't do that. I refuse to. So they found rats, rat poop and all that stuff in the cooler.
That's what the customer told the health district, and then the inspector who went to follow up on that complaint did see rodent droppings. She did find a dead, she said, either large mouse or small rat. Didn't know which one it was, but there was a dead rodent on an open sticky trap that was near the mop sink in the back room. That was what resulted in the imminent health hazard closure of this particular 7-Eleven. And the person in charge at 7-Eleven told the inspector, you know what, that's not the first mouse we've recently caught. So they knew of the hazard, but they failed to notify the health district and they failed to self-close, both of which are required in that situation.
I noticed that I know exactly, by the way, which 7-Eleven you're talking about. I've been there before. This is the one on Las Vegas Boulevard, as you mentioned, in Sahara Avenue. Maybe they just crawled out of the Westgate, one of the rooms in the Westgate, and then they just traveled to the 7-Eleven. Is that possible?
They could have come from just about anywhere, but they get in a variety of ways. There are holes in the walls, holes in the ceilings, so there were some structural issues with this 7-Eleven that kind of had open door policy for rodents.
I will also say that is not the cleanest of all areas in Las Vegas. It's not the safest of all areas. There's a homeless problem around there. It's just not a great place where I would want any member of my family walking around at night, rats or no rats. But that might be a different subject for another show. Darcy, before we let you go, can you give out that information? When are your segments airing? I can't wait to watch this Denny's segment. It sounds awesome. When does it air? And give out some of your social media stuff as well, if you can, please.
So this one will come up tonight at 6:30 p.m. in our the second half of our 6 p.m. hour-long newscast. We debuted, of course, last night at 11, which is when every Dirty Dining episode hits the air for the first time every Wednesday night at 11. But again, catch it Thursday at 6:30 if you missed it at 11 Wednesday. It's currently at ktnv.com on our mobile app. We've got some new streaming stuff out there. And then, of course, there's me on Facebook and me on Twitter. And it's out there for everyone to see in every possible way.
Darcy, keep up the great work. We appreciate it. I will stay away from the rats around lunchtime because of you. Thank you very much. You're saving my life.
Just stay away from them, period.
Yes, I think that's a good idea. And as far as that slushy rat-flavored thing is concerned, I was joking. I really don't want them to do that. I really don't. I like
Just
7-Eleven.
call a patent on it right now.
Fair enough. Darcy, great job. Always great to hear from you. Have a great weekend. We'll catch up with you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot, Darcy.
She is Darcy Spares from 13 Action News. That makes me very sad. I know exactly, JD, what 7-Eleven she's talking about. Do you know which one she's talking about? It's right across the street from the Sahara. And it's, I want to say it's right off of Paradise. Sahara and Las Vegas Boulevard, there's a 7-Eleven right there. There's McDonald's in that complex. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
I thought that was behind.
It's right next to where you got your car towed there.
Yeah, but that wasn't actually. No, I was in that old antique or one of those old Vegas shops where you have all these knickknacks and stuff and T-shirts. I think you're talking about the one that's next to Stratosphere.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Well, that's kind of Sahara and Las Vegas Boulevard.
It's
in the vicinity.
Do you know how many times that's been robbed at gunpoint?
Yeah, it's a very bad
like
area.
50 or 60 times.
It's a horrible area.
Yeah, so I am not shocked at all that took place at that particular 7-Eleven.
I remember I put $20 in a machine there once with a friend of mine, and I grabbed a Slurpee, and I won $40. As I'm walking out, I had two people following me to my car. Hey, do you have any change? Do you have any money? People were just, and by the way, I didn't hit a royal or anything. I won $20, and people were asking me for money. That is a very brutal area. It's a bad area. Listen, I'm not saying that in a really good area, like a 7-Eleven in like the nicest area in Summerlin, you couldn't find rats in a 7-Eleven. I'm just saying if you had to pick a favorite, it would probably be that 7-Eleven.
Minus 2,000.
Yeah, if you had to pick it would definitely be a 7-Eleven like that one. That is imagine being the cashier at a 7-Eleven like that. The riffraff that come in there.
That area is so bad that if it does not get cleaned up, I don't think that we can handle a Super Bowl here in 2025.
I think that'll be fine because at every city that has a Super Bowl, there's always going to be bad areas, and I do think Las Vegas,
but not that close.
Perhaps, but I don't think that's a huge concern. I think everyone wants to come to 7-Eleven. Everybody wants to come to Las Vegas. Everybody certainly doesn't want to go to 7-Eleven, but I do because I like eating crappy food. I even get my Postmates deliveries from 7-Eleven. We got to take a quick break.
You do actually really love bad food.
When we come back, Adam Disabato, he is a former Ohio State wrestler accusing Jim Jordan of misdoing. He'll be coming up next right here on the Vegas Take.
Your home for Sean Hannity, KDWN Las Vegas, KKLZ HD2 Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Response: medical workers at risk. I'm Mike Moss.
Lives are at stake. This is not a time for name calling or playing politics.
When it comes to responding to the coronavirus, House Speaker Pelosi is saying the same thing as Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell.
This new disease is not going to press pause so that members can engage in performative outrage that gets us farther from results rather than closer. This is our first step in confronting the challenge.
The head of the World Health Organization says an increasing number of countries are contending with outbreaks, but the world needs to respond smartly.
This is not a time for fear. This is a time for taking action now to prevent infections and save lives now.
Medical correspondent Dr. Sanjay Gupta reports the 60th case of coronavirus in the U.S. may be the most problematic yet.
If in fact this patient had no relevant travel history, did not come in contact with a known infected person, that does really mean that this virus is now starting to spread within the community. Likely among asymptomatic people or people with minimal symptoms, possibly from a virus that is on a surface and somebody touched that surface.
The patient from Northern California was not tested for days. The Washington Post reports dozens of medical workers are now being monitored to see whether they developed the virus after having treated the woman, though thought to be the first U.S. case of community transmission. And longtime health official Debbie Birx has been named in the new position of being the White House Coronavirus Response Coordinator. On Wall Street, fear is in the air, and that is driving stocks down for another day. The Dow is down 379, S&P down 40 points at this hour. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by your Southern Nevada Chevy dealer. A crash reported on the 215 Southern Beltway westbound near Windmill. Vehicles off to the right. Also a crash 95 south at Charleston. That's an off-ramp issue as well. Still a slowing pattern in the area, but it's not too heavy. On the surface streets, a crash injury sustained reported Cheyenne Avenue westbound at Buffalo. And celebrate President's Day at your Southern Nevada Chevy dealers. Choose from great cash back release offers or even low APR financing. Hurry to a Southern Nevada Chevy dealer and drive away in a new Chevrolet. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Get the rest you deserve with Helix Sleep. Helix makes personalized mattresses to fit your unique body type and sleep preferences and give you the best sleep of your life. Go to helixsleep.com and get up to $200 off mattress orders.
If you're a man aged 45 to 80 with a history of heart disease or stroke, please listen closely to this message. Some men with a history of heart disease or stroke also have low testosterone levels, also known as hypogonadism. Symptoms of low testosterone hypogonadism include decreased sexual desire, fatigue, depressed mood, and loss of body hair. If you've had a heart attack or stroke in the past and experienced the symptoms of low testosterone hypogonadism, please consider our research study that is underway in Las Vegas. Qualified participants may receive testosterone replacement therapy or placebo and study-related care at no cost, as well as compensation for their time. Please call now to speak with the Research Study Coordinator. Dial 702-534-5151. That number again is 702-534-5151. That's 702-534-5151. 5151.
If your business is in need of office furniture, look no further than Office Furniture Concepts. From executive furniture to workstations, conference tables to reception furniture, and more, Office Furniture Concepts has got you covered. With true commercial-grade quality at competitive prices and knowledgeable staff, it's no wonder Office Furniture Concepts has been serving the Las Vegas community for over 2 decades. Visit Office Furniture Concepts showroom on West Tropicana at Arville or call 702-873-8555. That's 702 212-873-8555.
Bria's Fashion Boutique is the worst. First, they asked me if I needed help finding anything. Just because I'm gorgeous doesn't mean I need help.
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
Then they tell me they're having a sale. Oh, so you're assuming I'm poor. Cool.
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial, auto, and business insurance.
Also, they tried to give me the friends and family discount. I'm not your friend, so...
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Haven't heard a lot about GOP Congressman Jim Jordan lately, or as some like to call him, No Jacket Jim. But, a big face in the GOP and a big staunch supporter of President Donald Trump. As you remember the controversy at Ohio State, several former students there have come forward as victims of Dr. Richard Strauss, former team doctor accused of sexually assaulting athletes in the mid-1990s. The man we have with us on the line right now, his brother claiming that he was sexually assaulted there at Ohio State. This man was a captain on the wrestling team, and his locker was right next to Jim Jordan's. His name is Adam Disabato, and he joins us right now on the line. Adam, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing good, Adam. If we can start from square one, tell me when you started attending Ohio State, and then give me the rundown. I just want to make it clear, you're not saying you were sexually abused or assaulted. It was your brother that was.
Well, yes, I'm in the claim too for the suit. I'm in on a lawsuit as being one that was fondled by Dr. Strauss as well. And
oh my goodness, okay.
There's other stuff that in the report that I brought to the attention of my coaches about the atmosphere we were put in as well in Larkins Hall, which was a open shower facility with the general public. So we were in a general area for showers where predators would come and watch us every day shower.
Oh my God. Well, first of all, let me just say this. I am so sorry for what happened to you and your brother and everyone else at that university. It's horrible, but I have to ask you about Jim Jordan because, this is an important question.
Yes.
It's an important subject, Mr. Disabato, and we appreciate you coming on, by the way. Can you take me back to that first conversation you had with Jim Jordan when you brought up these allegations of sexual assault? Take me back to how that conversation went, please.
Oh, we just, it was like a known fact about Dr. Strauss in the locker room. I mean, we complained about it openly, and as a captain, I went to him year after year about the environment we were put in, as well as, the lines at physical. We complained about how long Dr. Strauss's lines were compared to the other doctor's line. There were several instances I can think of where we openly complained, and it was daily conversation in the locker room about, how he was the first one in the shower and the last one out of the shower every day, which was odd.
So when you're having these conversations with Jim Jordan and he's there and he's hearing all these things, what is his reaction when he's hearing these things? Because the normal person would immediately report this stuff. This is extremely alarming. In any situation, what was his reaction? What did he say? What did he do?
He just kind of brushed it off and kind of said, well, if he ever did that to me, I'd snap his neck like a piece of basswood. And he kind of laughed it off. And that was his kind of retort to what we would say to him. And we'd just kind of be like, what? I mean, I don't know how you react to that. So it was just kind of like you took it as a grain of salt and moved on. I don't know. I'm an 18-year-old kid at the time,
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And that sounds like a verbatim response by him. Why exactly did Jim Jordan have a locker next to you?
Because, it was common for coaches to train trained for the Olympics. He was training for the Olympics at the time, so that was common for coaches to train with the athletes, and they would be, training with us, going to the sauna. I mean, all that stuff we did. That was common practice at all universities. So that it's not that was, and I coached in college as well, and I trained with my athletes as well.
But under those circumstances, I'm sure you had quite a bit of communication, with Jim Jordan. How many times did you bring this to his attention?
I mean, it was like I said, every year. I mean, once a year I was captain. We were supposed to move out of the facilities, and we'd bring up, why is Doc showering? Why is he the first one in? Why is he left?
Yeah.
Why is the line so long every year at physicals? And then at one point, one of the doctors took some guys out of the line to his line because his was quicker.
Mm-hmm.
And Doc came out and was mad about it. And we were laughing. I mean, it was like an open joke. People were laughing like Doc's pissed because this guy is taking his guy. You know what I mean?
Right, of course. Let me ask you this question, Adam. And by the way, if you're just joining us, Adam Disabato on the line, former Ohio State wrestler. He was actually the captain of that team. Locker right next to Jim Jordan says he was sexually abused. His brother in this suit as well. So, Adam, let me ask you this question. I believe you. Let me be very clear on this. I believe you 100%. I believe your brother, and I believe all the other victims. And I also believe Jim Jordan is a coward, and he should go to jail for this. I truly believe that. With that being said, as you know, in this political spectrum that we are living in now, there are a lot of people on the right, including the president, by the way, and a lot of others that are saying this is a lie, it's made up, it's a political ploy to try to go after Jim Jordan. What would you say to them?
Well, I mean, I have phone records that I'm getting subpoenaed now, and other things that I have that are proof. And I'm not the only one that he contacted. There's other teammates of mine that he had contacted. And
really, so you're talking about Jim Jordan. So you're saying recently?
I mean,
how long ago did Jim Jordan contact you and call you?
He called me, the day after the story broke.
So this was what, a year ago, or how? A couple
2 years.
Okay,
It was July 4th of 2018. I was in Las Vegas actually.
Wow.
And the story had broke when I was in flight to Vegas, and then that night, it broke, and then the next morning I'm at breakfast. I'm there helping the UFC heavyweight champ get ready for a title fight against Daniel Cormier. I get a call at 8 in the morning, breakfast, and it's Jim Jordan. I see a number from Dayton. I didn't know who it was. And
what did he say to you?
He just asked me about my brother, and he was asking me, what he was doing. I said, I don't know what he's doing. I hadn't talked to my brother in a while, and I said, I don't know what his motive. I had no idea. I just said. He kept trying to convince me to go against my brother and asked me if I would do that. And I kept kind of blowing him off. And then at one point he was crying to me about it. And I'm kind of talking to him about the whole Strauss situation. And then, I basically said, look, Jimmy, let me talk to my brothers and sisters or brothers and see what they say.
This is unbelievable. So I just want to review.
Kind of blew him off.
I want to review.
He wanted me to come out with a statement.
Oh my God!
Saying my brother was wrong about.
So the day. So the day. I just want to make sure this is clear to our listeners, Adam, because this is unbelievable. You're saying the day after this story breaks and it goes public, you're telling me that Jim Jordan gives you a call asking you to testify against your brother.
Or make a statement, not testify,
but to make a statement saying that your brother is lying.
Was he a sitting congressman at this point?
Yeah, he was up for Speaker of the House at the time. That's why he was calling me.
So let me ask you this then, because this
remember he was up for Speaker at this point.
Sure. So I remember that 100%. So this is really egregious. So let me ask you this. Jim Jordan is basically calling.
That's why I was alarmed at the time about why he was calling me, and I was just crazy. And
let me ask you this.
And then he kept calling me after that for a few days.
Really? That does not surprise me. Let me ask you this. Jim Jordan
left me voicemails, and then I had to have a former attorney call him and tell him to stop calling me, and one of my former teammates.
And Adam, do you have all of these records still on your phone logs?
I'm trying to get those. My attorney's trying to get those right now, but I have Jim Jordan's number. How would I have his cell number if he didn't call me? I haven't talked to the guy in years.
So, Adam, let me ask you this. Jim Jordan, make no mistake about it, he's calling you a liar. He's calling your brother a liar. And he's basically calling every victim that was at the hands of this nut job, Dr. Richard Strauss, a liar. So when you see Jim Jordan over the last few years basically calling you out and calling your brother out, calling you guys a liar, what goes through your mind?
I haven't seen Jim Jordan, by the way.
Well, when you see him I'm just saying, when you hear about it, whether it's on television or the radio, and he has made comments in the past basically saying that it's false, that what you're saying is a lie, what goes through your head when you hear that?
I just think that I would never do that to any of the kids I've ever coached. I'm a coach, and I would never allow that, and I would never abandon my team. I'm a captain. I'm a leader, and I could never go against what I know is fact and what I know happened. And, the Perkins report indicates that there were several administrators. There's a list of administrators that knew, as well as coaches, trainers, you name it, medical professionals at Ohio State that knew. So it's not just Jim Jordan, but it's the whole hypocrisy of Ohio State University as well. But it's all a cover-up by not only Jim Jordan, but by the Ohio State University as well.
Adam, did I mishear you, or did you say that Jim Jordan was crying when he called you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not kidding. I've never had seen him or witnessed him cry before in his life. And I'm not making that up. It's true.
Wow.
Why would I make something up like that? The
question is, why would he be crying?
Guilt.
Because he thought he was, I don't know, he obviously thought his Speaker of the House was in jeopardy. There was a lot of things going on at the time. I didn't know everything going on. I'm just out there getting ready for this fight.
Right.
And I'm getting calls. So I didn't know at the time the magnitude of the Perkins report and all the stuff that my former teammates suffered. I mean, we didn't know the extent that this predator did to people and the extent of, 46 rapes. That's nothing to joke about.
No.
And then there's also guys that have quit the team that I didn't realize that's why they quit the team. There's a lot of things that you learn years later that we didn't know. They covered up.
It sounds to me like Jerry Sandusky all over again. I mean, that's really
worse.
It's horrible.
The worst case in U.S. history.
So let me ask you, I believe it. Based on what you're telling me, it just sounds awful. Adam, let me ask you this.
Ohio State has failed to settle in mediation, and our attorneys now are asking the judge to go back to litigation. That's how arrogant Ohio State is.
That's unbelievable. If you had a chance right now to sit down right next to Jim Jordan, I'm not saying you would, but if he was sitting right next to you right now, what would you say to Jim Jordan?
I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into all that. All I know is Jim Jordan is not a leader. He's a coward. Mm-hmm. And that's all I want to say.
Do you think, I understand, do you think that there will be any accountability? Do you think that there is any chance that Jim Jordan will be held accountable for what he did?
If Ohio State keeps this rate up with the litigation, he might have to be called to the witness stand, and they don't want to settle for mediation. So, yeah, I'd love to see Jim Jordan get up and testify, and my head coach get up there and testify, and the people that have called me a liar testify under oath.
I don't think there's anything, Adam, I don't think there's anything worse than, number one, what you had to go through, what your brother had to endure, what all these other teammates had to endure, and then even worse, to be called a liar.
I went to that state, just to be clear, I went to the hearing on that state bill 249 because it is stalled because Jim Jordan's trying to block it.
Oh.
Okay? So in that hearing, they said that basically Ohio State trustees, before I got up and spoke, the trustees said that Ohio State Board of Trustees were quoted by this girl before I spoke saying that they wanted to settle, but Ohio State lawyers told them not to because they had the committee under control.
What would
meaning they're going to kill the bill.
Can you
So
tell me
that's
what that?
why
Can
I
you
got
tell?
up and spoke. I wasn't even supposed to be scheduled to speak at that hearing.
Understood, Adam. What would that bill do? Can you explain that bill a
It
little
would
bit?
it would get rid of the limitations, statute of limitations, that is preventing us from going after all these people.
When was the last time you spoke to Jim Jordan? I know you mentioned a couple of years ago when this story went public, he called you numerous occasions. When was the last conversation you recall having with him?
That was it. That on July 4th.
And never heard from him again. Did he ever call your brother?
He's called. He called me after that though, and left voicemails, and that's when I had people call him to stop calling me.
Did you save any of those voicemails?
No, I didn't, but other people had listened to him.
Got you. All right, so moving forward here, how long do you think this litigation is going to go on for? How long do you think Ohio State is going to try to fight this in court? And do you think at the end of the day there will be some sort of settlement because they want this story to go away? How do you see this panning out, I guess, is what I'm trying to ask.
You know what? I have no idea. It's been a roller coaster of, ups and downs with this whole thing. So I don't know if Ohio State's getting poor legal advice or what the case is, but, all this stuff is going to just keep getting worse and worse and worse. So I don't understand the logic there.
And isn't it true, Adam, that there's not only victims that are part of this, but there is actually an unidentified wrestling referee in the lawsuit and many others that are a part of this as well that were witnesses. So can you talk a little bit about that?
There's all kinds. There's 13 different sports that were affected. I mean, this is it's across the spectrum of the whole university. And, this guy, they let him run rampant. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It was covered up.
Can you explain to someone that has never been the victim of sexual assault how this has affected the life of you and your brother, throughout the years? Because I can't even imagine how difficult this is to have to relive all this stuff. How has this affected you personally and your brother?
Well, I can't speak for my brother, but I just, living back this stuff and going through it, and then, people attacking me and calling me a liar and stuff I've had to put up with. I wouldn't want this on anybody, and I don't ask for this.
Right.
I'm just doing what I have to do to protect my teammates and my brothers.
Let me be very clear on this. I have no doubt that you and your brother are telling the truth and all the other victims in this case. And I really hope that you guys, I don't know if the word justice is suitable because I don't think there'll ever be true justice here. We want accountability, right? Right, Adam?
Yeah, I don't want this ever to happen again at Ohio State. I want them to put in place parameters to stop this, and I want victims to be helped. And this is a university I love, but I don't love the people involved with it.
Yeah, no.
There's people that make that university look bad.
No question, Adam. We are on your side. I can't thank you enough for sharing your story. I know this is difficult for you to talk about, and we want accountability. Like I said, we are on your side. I appreciate your time, Adam. Thank you so much for coming on with us. And if there are any new developments in this case, hopefully positive for you and your family, we would love to have you on again to talk about that. Thank you so much,
problem.
Adam. We really
appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Thank you, Adam. And
thanks a lot, Adam.
Take care of yourself. That is Adam Disabato. He is a former Ohio State wrestler, actually the former captain of the team who had his locker right next to Jim Jordan. He said on multiple occasions, he told Jim Jordan and others at the university what was going on. Not only was his brother sexually assaulted, but he says he was sexually assaulted as well. He said Jim Jordan's reaction was kind of saying, well, if he ever did that to me, I would wring his neck. And he kind of laughed it off. And he also says that 2 years ago, when this story became public, what did Jim Jordan do? Jim Jordan called him. He called him, crying to him on the phone, pleading with him for his brother not to let this story get out there and to write a statement saying that it wasn't true. He also claims that he spoke to Jim Jordan and Jordan reached out to him several times after that. There are not just victims that are taking, that are speaking out about this, but also witnesses, referees, and others surrounding the university at that time. There is a plethora, it appears to me, of evidence to support that these young men were sexually molested. And it appears to me is that there is also evidence, just based on phone records alone, that Jim Jordan is guilty, and he is a coward. And this is the man that Republicans in the House call him a dear friend. They should be ashamed of themselves. Not only should this man not be involved in politics, this man should be thrown in jail.
Again, Brian, assuming that what we were just told is 100% factual.
I have no reason to believe it's
that's
not.
Fine, but if that's the case, then it is not looking good for Jim Jordan. And basically, the way that he responded was, "Hey, better you than me, kid."
Right.
That's basically what he said.
That's exactly what he's saying. Basically, that's exactly what he's saying.
Which is very troubling,
But JD,
and
it's
definitely not something not becoming of a leader, especially someone in the position that Jim Jordan's in. And this family, this Disabato family, Brian, they're one of the most successful state of Ohio wrestling families in history.
Right.
They have 15 state championships between them. They have several kids. These guys are not stopping. If this doesn't get taken care of, and I do think, assuming what he said is true, you're going to see a major settlement take place.
Here's why.
And a lot of apologies from Jim Jordan, but I don't think you'll see him on the stand.
I guarantee you Jim Jordan is never going to apologize because he's a scumbag. That's why.
I'm talking about from the university.
Yeah. Jim
Not
Jordan.
Because this is still a multi-billion-dollar university, Brian.
Jim Jordan, Mr. Pro-Life, he's very adamant about that. But when it comes to kids getting sexually assaulted, he's a yellow coward. That's what he is. Put your jacket on, Jim, and get the hell out of Congress.
He just didn't, assume what Adam said is true, he did not step up to the plate and recognize.
It's not even stepping up to the plate.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Recognize something a crazy grievance, an egregious act that is literally destroying young men's life. But he didn't step to the plate and say, "Hey, this is going on and this needs to stop."
Well, here's where I disagree.
He just brushed it aside, and like I said, he said, "Better better them than me."
All
and
right,
again, that is not the attitude and the thought process of a legitimate leader.
Okay, well,
period.
First of all, let me just be clear on this. Here's where I disagree with you. You don't have to be a leader when you hear about sexual assault to report it. You don't have to be stepping up to the plate, so to speak, for lack of a better term, when you hear that kids are being sexually molested and you do nothing about it, okay? That makes you an accessory to the crime, as far as I am concerned. You have to report that. That is the law. There are laws in this country. When you have evidence that somebody is sexually assaulting children, you have a due diligence and duty to report it. And that is why what went down in Penn State went down. And I'm going to tell you something. This is a Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby effect. And here's what I mean by that. You have a ton of victims that are coming forward. A ton. This isn't one or two.
Well, especially now that they're getting a lot of press.
A ton of victims.
They're getting a lot of media attention behind them. Ohio State has a lot of money to pay out to these families. And a lot of these guys, I mean, if you were sexually molested as a high school wrestler, as a college wrestler by a doctor, first of all, your career after you're a college wrestler, unless you're an Olympian, you're not making a ton of money. You're training every single day. I think that these guys, I'm sure their earning power and just their overall sense of well-being has been deeply affected by this.
Yeah.
And so they do want that big payout that I believe that they deserve, and I think they're going to get it.
Make no mistake about it, this is another guy that is supposed to be serving you and me in Congress. And he is nothing short of an evil coward. That is who Jim Jordan is. He is a liar, and he is an evil coward. And we got to take a break. But you have a ton of kids at the time who were sexually molested. I have no doubt that every single one of them are telling the truth. Jim Jordan, another congressman, another politician, and somebody who preaches the Bible, somebody who preaches pro-life. One thing he didn't preach when he was at Ohio State was kids getting sexually molested and assaulted. I guess he didn't care too much about that, did he? But he does care about supporting the President of the United States. That seems to be more important to him on his priority list than doing the right thing when kids are sexually molested. Jim Jordan, you are a disgrace. I hope they lock you up behind bars for the rest of your life and you never get out, my friend, because you are a piece of garbage. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, another mass shooting. This time it happens in Milwaukee. A disgruntled worker will explain what happened. Coming up next, you are listening to The Vegas Take.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you. Printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-501-3689 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-501-3689 for your free author submission kit. Again, 800-501-3689.
This is a cow whose milk became everyone's favorite cheese at the craft fair. But cheese only lasts so long. The impression a small business makes needs to last much longer. And now Vistaprint is offering free shipping on all business cards in any quantity. Choose from hundreds of fresh designs tailored to your type of company. Or upload your own. The choice is yours. The time is now. For a limited time only, get free shipping on all business cards in any quantity with promo code 4949. That's promo code 4949 at Vistaprint.com. Vistaprint. Own the now.
World Health Organization hopes a coronavirus pandemic can be avoided. More from correspondent Jim Roop.
We're at a decisive point.
WHO General Director Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus says 7 countries have reported their first cases of coronavirus and urges them to take action now.
With the right measures, it can be contained.
He says if every country takes China's lead on how it managed and is managing the outbreak, early detection, isolation, quality critical care, preventing hospital spread, the outbreak can be controlled.
The White House has appointed Debbie Birx from the State Department to coordinate the administration coronavirus response. A cruise ship turned away by 2 nations due to fears of a virus outbreak is docked in Cozumel. Mexican President Lopez Obrador says his country is acting out of a sense of humanity. On Wall Street, the retreat continues. The Dow is down about 400 points. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by your Southern Nevada Chevy dealer. A crash reported I-15 southbound at the Southern Beltway. Vehicles off to the right. Also an accident on the Southern Beltway westbound near Windmill Lane. Vehicles off right. And on the 95, watch for slowing for the crash southbound Charleston. That's at the off-ramp. On the surface streets, a crash at Cheyenne westbound at Buffalo. Celebrate President's Day at your Southern Nevada Chevy dealers. Choose from great cashback or lease offers or even low APR financing. Hurry to a Southern Nevada Chevy dealer and drive away in a new Chevrolet. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Hi, it's David Masters. Join me and my brother Alan for Advice Line, 10 to midnight, Monday through Friday, right here on 720 KDON and on 101.5 FM. That's Advice Line, America's live radio counseling program. If you've got problems, we've got your answers. Monday through Friday, 10 to midnight.
Eric's IRS troubles were nasty.
I had 10 years of unpaid tax returns. I owed a ton of money in taxes. I started getting letters.
And unbelievably complex.
Things that are written in the tax code are so complicated that if you don't pay a tax professional and do your taxes, you're going to screw up. This was such a complex problem, I did not think anybody could solve it.
Eric's whole life was about to go down the drain, so he called Optima Tax Relief.
Optima was able to make sense out of a huge disaster, and Optima stopped it.
To say the least, Eric was very relieved.
They got me out of hot water, that's for sure. Optima saved me a boatload of money and got me out of a horribly complex situation. It's a huge relief and a huge weight lifted off my shoulders.
Got a nasty, confusing tax problem? Do what Eric did and call Optima right now for a free consultation. Call 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Travis Scribner, managing partner of Westpac Wealth Partners, interviews some of the most successful business owners for insight into what makes both them and their business run. Tune in every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON, or podcasts on iTunes.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us. By the way, a reminder, we are broadcasting live on YouTube. That would be the Vegas Take page. Every day we're broadcasting live on YouTube. If you want to see our pretty mugs and my amazing hat, I won't give it away. Check it out on our YouTube page. Coming up in hour number 3, we're going to be speaking to Joe Gatto. He is one of the Impractical Jokers, one of the most popular reality TV shows in the history of reality TV. They get so many viewers on that show. Now they have a new movie out. So we're going to talk to Joe Gatto about it. Great show. We'll get to the story. Apparently, Desiree Reed-Francois is in the mix for the UCLA athletic director job. We'll get to that coming up. Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports, and of course, Hate Mail, our producer's favorite segment of the day. But really tragic story that I want to bring to you. News broke out yesterday in Milwaukee in a brewery. 6 people dead, 6 workers in that brewery, including the shooter, in a complete rampage. I mean, that's exactly what this was. It's one of the worst shootings now in Wisconsin history. Gunman, as I mentioned, killed 5, including himself. It happened yesterday afternoon on the Milwaukee campus of Molson Coors. The shooter, now identified as 51-year-old man who worked for the company, the home of Miller Brewery, for more than a century. All of the shooting victims died. So every single person that was shot did not make it. So this guy knew what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing. Now, was he specifically targeting individuals? We don't know yet. The investigation is in its early stages, and it is ongoing. But this is a really scary story in another situation of a mass shooter. This case, a disgruntled employee. We've heard this story before, and it happens again. So, Jason, I know Jason Stein is our producer. You spent a lot of time in Milwaukee.
It's my hometown.
Yeah, it's your hometown. So what can you tell us, first of all, about this story, the specifics, where exactly the location was? What can you tell us about this?
Well, the specifics are that the Molson Coors, it's now known, there have been mergers over the years. It's Miller, and Miller's synonymous with Milwaukee. So for all intents and purposes, it's the Miller factory where they actually brew the beer, and it employs a lot of people. But it is now technically called Molson Coors. It's on the west side of the city, not far from Marquette University, if you know where that is. And Milwaukee is a city that, it's a big city. It's a city of about 1 million people when you incorporate the suburbs. But it's what and a lot of people call a small big city. There's not a lot to do there. This is not Vegas where you come here and there's a gazillion things to do. There aren't a lot of things for tourists to do in Milwaukee, but one of the things people love to do is they love to go to the Miller campus. And I guess you could describe it's a 100-year-old facility. You could call it Wonka-esque. All right, there's cobblestone. They got these beautiful old, 19th century buildings. And you can go and tour it, and they give you free beer, and it's great. And it's a great thing for tourists. So, and again, it has employed generations of people in Milwaukee. And so when something like this happens, it's pretty shocking. It's shocking anywhere. It's especially shocking in an iconic place like Miller.
So what do we know about the details of this? My understanding is that it was a disgruntled employee.
Well,
what can you tell us?
We don't know a lot of stuff. I've been following it. This is a 51-year-old man who reportedly had been fired earlier in the day. He went home, apparently, got a couple guns, grabbed a silencer, and walked into Building 4 with a badge that did not belong to him. So he gained entry back into the building, forced entry, basically, with someone else's pass, and just started indiscriminately shooting people. Now, we don't know the guy's name. We do know that he was still wearing his uniform. He was still wearing his brewery uniform. So this was fresh.
And they just fired him?
They had just fired him earlier today, came back a few hours later and started shooting people. 5 people dead.
Well, listen, these are the same type of questions I always ask after every single one of these shootings, and which is the following. Number 1, did this man have mental illness? Let's know a little bit about his history. If he did have some sort of mental illness, where did he get the guns? How did he get the guns? What type of guns were used, as you alluded to?
Well, he used a silencer, which is extremely rare in these mass shootings. When you usually hear about them, it involves some kind of a semi-automatic weapon. This guy used a silencer, which is, by the way, legal in 42 states, including Wisconsin. So by all appearances, and we can politicize this, and some people are, it seems like this guy had his guns legally. Red flags might not have helped. We don't know. We don't know because we don't know who he was. We don't know his record. We don't know anything about the guy, except his age.
Yeah, is he alive or dead? The guy.
Oh, he's dead. He killed himself.
He ended up killing. So he used a silencer, which you would think someone would use a silencer because they wouldn't want to draw attention to themselves. Right. They wouldn't want to make all that noise.
Right.
And if that's the case, then he would be trying to get away after the fact. That's if I was going to use a silencer, that would be my logic behind
Perhaps.
it. But why then would he kill himself? I don't understand that.
Well, he probably didn't want to go to jail. He probably didn't want to get caught. He didn't want to go to jail. He'd rather kill himself. Obviously, this is a guy who was mentally deranged. Obviously,
it's hard to argue at this point.
It just takes anything to set somebody off. And in this case, he lost his job. So that probably put him over there. We don't know what was going on in this guy's life. But again, let me be very clear on this. Yes, I agree with Democrats that we need to do something about red flag laws. We need to get some of these guns off the streets. With all that being said, and again, we don't know if this is true or not. However, if this guy didn't have any history, like the Paddock situation right here in Las Vegas, right? If he didn't have any serious issues as far as mental illness or crime is concerned, I don't know how you can stop somebody from doing something like this. I don't know. And I'm not going to sit here and blame. However, let's let the investigation play itself out, because in some of these mass shootings, maybe a week earlier he got arrested for something. We don't know. Maybe he's been arrested before for violent crimes. Maybe red flags could have helped here. And maybe this could, help in that situation of pushing some of these laws forward. Like you said, we don't know.
We don't know.
We need to find out. But again, I don't know how you stop somebody. And somebody help me out here. You can give us a call, 702-257-5396. Again, the number to call if you want to be a part of this conversation. Another mass shooting in Wisconsin, a disgruntled employee. We don't know a lot about his history except for that day he was fired. He walked back into Building 4 with a silencer and some weapons, killed 5 people, 6 people, including himself. My thing is, I don't know how you stop these types of things from happening if there are no prior incidents.
I'll tell you what, it sounds to me like it would be more of a security issue, having better trained security guards, preventing people like this guy from, because again, they took away his key card access. He couldn't get back in the building. So they made that measure. Then he took someone else's and got through. So I think it'd be more of a security thing, unless he just found someone on the street and beat them up or whatever.
And I'm not sure exactly how he got someone else's card, but
here's my problem.
He stole it.
Here's my problem with that. And I understand what you're saying. But if he can't get into his place of business, this guy is clearly mentally deranged. He'll walk into a McDonald's. He'll walk into a mall.
He clearly snapped.
Well, of course. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
If he can't get into his own place of business, then he'll stalk people in his car outside the building. The point I'm trying to make is when somebody is that nuts and they're willing to take their own life, a security guard is not going to stop them. They'll find other means to kill innocent people.
Do you guys remember the expression going postal?
Yeah, of course.
Remember that?
Of course.
That was you don't hear about it anymore. But back in late '80s, maybe early '90s, there were a rash of shootings at post offices. Former employees or current employees of the post office shooting up their coworkers.
Yeah,
it kind of went away, but for a while it was a very big story, and that. The term going postal is from that.
Absolutely.
This is that kind of situation, an angry coworker who wanted to get revenge.
Well, it kind of sounds like like Brian's favorite movie with Michael Douglas, Falling Down.
Yes.
In a sense.
Well, that guy was fed up with society.
Yeah. Well, I don't blame him for that.
Maybe this guy was too. But yeah, what a very personal thing to go back and to kill at point blank some of the people you may have called friends.
Yeah.
And coworkers and colleagues.
So my question to you that are listening right now, you listeners, we had the biggest mass shooting in American history, right? 59 people have died from the October 1 shooting a few years ago. And I don't know what the answer is in regards to gun control to stop some of these people that don't have priors, that don't have any red flags in their life. I don't know how you can, except for this. Yes, I do believe we need to ban certain types of assault weapons, weapons of war, the types of weapons that are used in many of these mass shootings. I would start there. We need red flag laws. We need more information, obviously, on this shooting and what exactly took place. But my question to you listeners out there is, how do we stop? Because I don't have the answer to this. How do we stop a madman, but with no priors, from killing innocent people? I don't know. I ask you that question. How could we help prevent some of these mass shootings from happening? The number to call is 702-257-5396. Again, that number, if you want to be a part of the conversation, is 257-5396. Why don't we start off with Sean? Sean, you are first up here on the Vegas Take. What do you say about this?
The answer is that we live in the minority. Sleep and report. We get Agatha Dupree. Sleep and Cobb. She will determine the future. Sleep and murders.
Okay, thank you for the call, Sean.
Been a while, Sean. Thanks for calling in.
I don't know.
Obviously, you love Tom Cruise.
What happened? I couldn't hear.
He's just
prank caller.
He's talking about how the Minority Report runs our life.
There's nothing.
That's great.
There's nothing worse than when we talk about innocent people that have died just yesterday within 24 hours. We have innocent people that have lost their lives.
I guess that's why I should be in the next room screening the call.
And then we have somebody call in wanting to make light of people who have lost their lives. And I wonder if this person,
Sean,
has lost his mother or father, God forbid, or somebody in his family to a mass shooter. I wonder if the next day he would call in and make light of a mass shooting. I wonder if this scumbag would call into a show, because obviously he has nothing better to do than to laugh about innocent people that have died.
You know what, Brian, I have to interject. When the mass shooting happened on the Strip, Stephen Paddock and all that, 59 people. You remember how the community came together, and all of a sudden, people from around the world went, wait a second, Las Vegas is a community. It's not just a tourist place where you go to the strip. These are people who live there and work there, affected by this.
Of course, yeah.
Same thing in Milwaukee. It's a very small community, really, when you get down to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really want to mention really quick, Brian Boyle wrote for the LA Times an opinion piece that really, I think, sums it up really good. He used to live in Milwaukee, and he went to his editor. He said, I got to write an opinion on this because I used to live there, and I'm really affected by this.
It's home, sure.
And he wrote, of the Miller factory, it can be called the heart of Milwaukee, and it just took a bullet. But that was very powerful, and it also very explains what people there are feeling. Because even if you didn't work there, because this didn't affect the general public, okay, it affected those employees that were in Building 4, and it affected maybe the broader Miller Coors family.
Right.
But also, like I said, you bring your friends and family from out of town to the Miller factory. You drink Miller. You celebrate with Miller. The baseball stadium is called Miller Park, where the Brewers play.
Right.
You've had generations of families working there. So this is a bullet to the heart. This isn't just some random thing. This is something that people there are taking very personally.
No question. Let's take some phone calls on this at 257-5396. Let's go to Bob. Bob,
well said, Stein. Well said.
Bob, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
What's up, Bob?
Well, hey, I just wanted to add something to this story, and that is that, and this is just information, right? But in order to purchase a silencer, let's say he did purchase it legally, there's a background check that can take up to a year to be able to actually own one of those or possess one.
Right.
So I don't know if the thing was stolen or not.
Well, that's the thing we don't know, Bob. That's important. Yeah, we don't know yet. We don't know if the silencer was stolen. We don't know if the guns were stolen. We don't know if this guy had any priors. We just don't know.
We also don't know why he was fired either.
Well, why he was fired, we don't know.
He could have had a mental breakdown. He could have had an assault situation with a family member. You've no idea. He could have something could have happened. We don't know that background either.
Yeah.
And I think we need to.
No question.
You don't know the background story. We only know the surface.
Well, you're absolutely on this. You're right.
At any rate, it's a tragedy.
It's really horrible. Is. Yeah, Bob, we agree. It's horrible, and we do need some more information to come out to learn about this guy who decided to kill 5 innocent people. Bob, I appreciate the call. Thank you very much.
Good call, Bob.
Thank you.
257-5396. I believe we have a guy on the line right now who says he actually replaced the window at Mandalay Bay. Wow, this is something else. Let's talk to Brian. Brian, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Brian?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good.
Doing okay.
Is that true, Brian? You replaced the window at Mandalay Bay from the shooter?
I did. My company, we actually did it, free of charge.
Oh, my gosh.
So
you walked into that room. What was it like for you just walking into that room? That had to be eerie.
You know what? It was the most eeriest feeling ever. When you actually got the eerie feeling before you entered that room. When you came out of that elevator corridor on that floor, the FBI had built a temp wall at the beginning of that hallway, so you couldn't even see down that hallway. And once they opened that door and you started going down that long hallway to his room, I mean, you see all the bullet holes in the walls everywhere. And it was just like,
Brian, there are probably hundreds of people out there, maybe thousands like you, who have to go to a mass shooting. For example, let me give you an example, Brian. The Walmart shooting where 22 people were killed in Texas, El Paso. There were people that had to walk into that Walmart, that had to do the cleanup work, that had to go in there and fix the damage. I mean, there are a lot of people that are going through what you're going through, and I would imagine those are things that you never forget.
No, it's, you know what, once I went into that room, that picture is embedded into my brain.
What did you see in there? The investigation was over with, I would imagine, right? But what did you see in there? Did you still see, like, investigative stuff in there, tape or anything? Like, what did you see, like blood stain on the carpet? Like, what did you see? I'm curious when he went into the room.
Okay, so where he shot himself and he landed on the floor.
Right.
Where his head landed and all the blood came out, that part of the carpet was cut out and gone.
Wow.
They had a piece of tarp, like a red tarp, cut out over it with a white X. And you actually, one of the windows that was shot out was in the living room area, and the other one was in the master suite.
Mm-hmm.
You actually had to step over that cutout in the carpet in order to get to the room.
Wow.
Where the window was.
So there you are, Brian, overlooking the exact spot where Paddock killed 59 people.
Yep.
And you're in that spot replacing a window. I'm just curious because 99.9% of us will never go through that experience. What is going through your mind at the time where you are replacing that window? I'm just curious.
Honestly, when I stood in that window and I looked out at what he had, I honestly am just glad it wasn't worse than it was.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
when you looked out the one in the living room, I mean, he had a lot of things other than the music festival in his range. He had the Luxor right there.
That's
he had,
true. Yeah.
you know,
Very
I'm
true.
just grateful that it was bad. You know,
Sure.
59 people losing their life is bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
No, I understand.
I'm thinking it could have been a lot worse, you know?
I totally understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Brian, how strong was the window that you replaced? How strong of a window did you put in place of the old window?
What do you mean?
How thick was it? What kind of material was it?
Okay, so, you know, I'm a union glazer here in town. And all these windows are just double pane insulated units. There's, you know, your inboard piece of glass is tempered. Your outboard light is, you know, heat strengthened. So tempered glass, once it gets tempered, it's 10 times stronger.
Yeah.
You know, you can hit it square dead on in the center with a hammer, and 90% of the time it's not going to
Unless
break.
you have an AR-15. I mean, you know, sadly. Well, Brian, let me just say this. Thank you for sharing your story with us on the air. I'm sorry that you had to go through that. I'm sure that's traumatic for you as well, but we appreciate your story. We hope you don't have to do anything like that again, that's for sure. But thank you for calling in, Brian. We really do appreciate it.
I had one more thing. You know, the reason I called in is, you know, you guys were saying, how could this have been prevented, you know? And
right.
I honestly think, you know, like a lock on your front door, it keeps honest people honest. You know?
Sure.
Gun control just keeps honest people honest. People that are going to get a gun and go do these mass shootings are going to do it no matter what.
Well, most likely.
Put in place.
I don't necessarily disagree with everything you just said, but I will say this, Brian. If we can make it a little harder for those people, and if we can get specific types of weapons off the streets, perhaps.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
A big hunter.
Sure. So we agree.
I own firearms,
Yeah,
and I do not believe in assault rifles.
Yeah, no, Brian, you and I are in complete agreement, my friend, and thank you again for the phone call. We really do.
Thanks for the call, Brian.
Really do appreciate that. Wow, that was unbelievable. I wasn't expecting that.
I actually got that vision in my brain. I visualized that entire scenario he just described.
Yeah, we're talking about the Milwaukee shooting and the mass shooting where 5 people lost their lives. But we just had a guy call up unexpectedly who replaced the window where Paddock broke the window in Mandalay Bay and killed 59 people. And he just said the story about how the spot where Paddock killed himself and his head was on the carpet, obviously a lot of blood, that he had to step over
bullet holes
that's wild.
Outside of the room.
That's crazy.
Those walls had not been replaced yet.
Yeah, that's
very interesting.
It's a wild story. 702-257-5396. Again, the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Talking about this mass shooting again in Milwaukee where a disgruntled employee is fired. We've heard this story before, and then a couple hours later he walks right back into the building with a silencer and some weapons, kills 5 innocent people, including himself. Obviously, we need more information. But my question to you is, how do we prevent these types of things from happening if the guy didn't have any priors or history of mental illness? I don't know the answer. 257-5396. Let's go to Dave. Dave, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Dave?
Hi, guys. Yeah, it's a crazy world out here, let me tell you. Hey, I've been a trucker for the last, 40 some years. And, you know, I've worked with some guys that were, these guys are crazy. And they get fired. And I know we had security guards, and they were told, watch out for these guys. Don't let them back in. Well, our security guards aren't armed.
Right.
But it's, we know in the world postal, I haven't heard that in a long time, but I remember that being said, for a long time. Some of these guys I worked with were definitely postal. But one thing, the guns is one way to, that's the typical way people kill. These big rigs, someone goes out here and hijacks something, and you know how much damage these things can do?
Oh, no question. No question.
But the guns are the easy way. That's
so
how we're going to
Dave,
stop it, and I don't know.
Dave, as a trucker, are you armed to prevent yourself from that happening?
Never. I'm not allowed. Company I drive for is. I've been driving all these years for basically one company.
Yeah.
And we have rules. So,
do you think that you should be armed?
No, absolutely.
Well, Dave, let me say this though, Dave. You're right. Trucks can cause a lot of damage. There's a lot of different things that can be used as weapons. But I think you said it best, Dave. And by the way, I do appreciate the phone call. You said it best. It makes it easier for a criminal to kill as many people as possible when they can purchase these weapons of war. There's no question about that. Appreciate the phone call, 257-5396. Let's go to Lance. Lance, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, Lance.
Milwaukee, and I did tour the brewery, and I don't know what's wrong with these people. I mean, you know how many incidents there have been with people fired who've been shot?
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody's going to fire somebody in corporate right now, they should keep their eye out for that person they fired just in case.
Well, that's a good point that you just said, Lance, because again, we don't know all the circumstances, but let me give you an example. Let's just say hypothetically they fired this guy, he started threatening people. That guy cannot be allowed back on campus. You know what I mean? And again, we don't know if that happened or not, Lance, but I would imagine if the guy's going to come back a couple hours later, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that he did have some warning signs earlier in the day. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, I want to say, do you know who else is from Milwaukee? Right here in Nevada.
Who's that?
He's the big man in Nevada.
Who's that?
Governor Sissy.
Okay. Well, I'm not gonna. I understand.
The 10%.
I understand. I'm not going to compare Governor Sisolak to a guy who just went into a building and killed 5 people. I'm not sure what that has to do with it. 257-5396. Not sure where he was going with that. Let's go to Bill. Bill, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Not much. How's everything?
Good. What's on your mind, Bill?
Okay. Well, I mean, you talk about your gun control part, and I can say that, you had the moron that did the Oklahoma bombing.
Right.
Didn't do anything. It was just he decided to blow up that governmental building.
Yes,
and
he did.
later to find out why he did it, but he did it.
Yep.
Then they catch him and whatnot. That was his choice of what to do.
Yep.
Not necessarily, I don't think it's really guns, but like you said earlier, these people that get terminated from their job, get let go from their jobs or whatever.
Yeah.
Why there's not a policy, like you said, keep them off the property, keep them under some type of surveillance?
No question, Bill. No question we agree on that. But when you say you don't think it's necessarily guns, the last 30, I'm not even going to use the term shootings, mass killings, what type of weaponry was used? Was it a bomb or was it a gun?
No, I understand that. But the thing is that, you talk about gun control, it's not only just necessarily, what's the.
It's not just
like
that.
You said, it's easy to get the gun.
Right.
It's not easy to build a bomb.
I agree.
Even though that's what they use.
I agree 100%. Bill, make no mistake about it. I'm not saying it's just the type of guns that are being used that are responsible. There's a lot of things, right? Mental illness, and by the way, I appreciate the call, Bill. Mental illness, red flag laws. There's a lot of things that go into this thing. It's not just the gun control issue. Let's go to Al. Al, you're next up on the Vegas Take. I got about 45 seconds for you, Al. Go ahead, my friend.
Hey, what's up, Al?
Well, hey, guys. Well, you said, JD, I'm glad you're feeling better. You said
thanks,
it best just now. It's not just about gun control.
That's a part of it. That's a part of it, though.
Well, no, it is.
Yeah.
It is, but
Yep.
there are a lot of methods
No
by
question.
which people can carry out these atrocities.
No question.
I just wanted to say that because that's actually what I was calling to say. And I know you got to go. Maybe when you get back, you can answer my question from yesterday.
What was that? I apologize.
Klobuchar or Trump? Who you voting for?
You did ask me that. I hate to say
You
this.
told me 24
yes,
hours. You got to give me an answer to that.
Al, I am a man of my word. I can't believe I'm going to answer this question that way. If it's Klobuchar and Trump, I'm going with Trump, my friend, and I happen to be wearing a Trump hat today. Al, I'm a man of my word. I said I would answer. I thought about it.
You
Al.
did, and you are many words, JD. I'm glad you're back to witness to hear that.
That's a good soundbite.
Thanks for the call, Al. I appreciate it.
That's a good soundbite, and it's an even better video clip. Brian wearing his Donald Trump visor with his red shirt and his sunglasses, looking. And then his fake hair saying, if it's Klobuchar or Trump, I'm going Trump, baby. I love it.
Okay, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, Joe Gatto from Impractical Jokers. You're listening to The Vegas Take.
Mojo would swallow things whole. A chicken carcass, a bird nest, and assorted stones and sticks. After surgery, Mojo had skin issues. He was constantly itching and scratching, chewing the hair right off of his legs.
DINOVITE.com.
On the Dinovite, all of these symptoms disappeared.
Dinovite is nutrition.
If you love your dog, you need to put him on Dinovite.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
DINOVITE.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, or even with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Affordable term life insurance is out there. Call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-481-1458, 800-481-1458, or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too.
Your home for Sean Hannity, KDWN Las Vegas, KKLZ HD2 Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
How to pay for it. I'm Mike Moss. Coronavirus uncertainty and a downward economic forecast from Goldman Sachs are fueling another day of selling on Wall Street. Correspondent Allison Cossack is there.
A lot of this is fear-driven, not necessarily based on what the virus has done. So there's a lot of unknowns about what could happen if this virus spreads. And it goes to the Goldman Sachs warning, showing that that U.S. companies won't generate earnings growth this year if this virus becomes more widespread.
Money is the mantra of the minute on Capitol Hill. Correspondent Linda Kenyon reports on the effort to provide government funding to respond to the coronavirus.
Speaker Pelosi says she expressed her concerns directly to the vice president himself.
We have always had a very candid relationship, and I expressed to him the concern that I had of his being in this position, while I look forward to working with him, about his, when he was governor of Indiana, slashing the public health budget.
President Trump put Pence in charge of the nation's response to the coronavirus after criticism his administration isn't doing enough to meet the threat.
A California woman thought to be the first victim of community transmission in the U.S. may have exposed healthcare workers to the virus. The Washington Post reports dozens of healthcare workers are now being monitored for any symptoms of developing the virus. Disgraced former Baltimore Mayor Catherine Pugh has been sentenced to 3 years in prison. The FBI's Alfred Watson.
The story was also about the fraud that she committed by lying to the taxpayers, by trying to conceal her actions, and the sentence today represents the seriousness of which we take that.
Investigators in Milwaukee are searching for a motive behind the fatal shooting of 5 brewery employees by a co-worker who later took his own life in the latest spasm of gun violence in the U.S. The Dow down 650. I'm Mike Moss.
Thinking about...
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by your Southern Nevada Chevy dealer. Watch for slowing for a crash reported on Cheyenne Avenue westbound at Buffalo. Police and fire with another accident on Paradise at Russell. And a collision Tropicana at Fort Apache Road. Again, that is with injuries sustained. Watch for slowing in the area. Celebrate President's Day at your Southern Nevada Chevy dealers. Choose from great cashback or lease offers or even low APR financing. Hurry to a Southern Nevada Chevy dealer and drive away in a new Chevrolet. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Get the rest you deserve with Helix Sleep. Helix makes personalized mattresses to fit your unique body type and sleep preferences and give you the best sleep of your life. Go to helixsleep.com and get up to $200 off mattress orders.
V is for victory, except on Saturdays when V is for veterans. That's Veterans Talk, The Forgotten Promise. Join us every Saturday from noon to 1.
Veterans Talk every Saturday at noon on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
Regaining control of your drinking doesn't have to mean uncomfortable group settings or the unrealistic expectation of sobriety. Meet Life Back, a physician-approved, completely private, app-based program designed for those who want to cut back on drinking without having to quit completely. Using a combination of medication proven in clinical studies to reduce the urge to overdrink in 92% of people and in-app coaching and support tools, LifeBack makes drinking a choice rather than a habit or a need. Every aspect of your LifeBack plan is managed on our mobile app from the privacy of your phone, and medication is delivered directly to your doorstep without the need for in-person doctor appointments. Start the LifeBack program now and treat yourself to sharper focus, better health, stronger relationships, and saved money while still enjoying moderate drinking. Visit lifebac.com. That's lifebac.com. Get your life back today with LifeBack. Visit lifebac.com.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro on a Thursday. Wow, delusions of grandeur. Tomorrow's Friday. Welcome back to the show. Also broadcasting live on YouTube. Check us out on the Vegas Take page. A lot to get to go over later this hour. Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports. But, one of my favorite shows on television. I absolutely love it. The show is called Impractical Jokers. If you haven't caught it on True TV, you have. These guys are so funny. They're so hilarious. The stuff they set up on this show, I'm dying in laughter, especially when they humiliate some people for fun. I like it. Sometimes they humiliate themselves. In fact, they do it all the time. They have a new movie coming out. It's called Impractical Jokers, the movie. It actually opened in theaters nationwide on Friday, February 21st. And the man with us on the line right now, his name is Joe Gatto. He is a part of Impractical Jokers. And he joins us on the line right now. Joe, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Great. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You guys are so funny. I want to start from square one. I would imagine did you guys just go to high school together? How did you guys get to know one another?
Yeah, we met each other in high school freshman year. We're friends 30 years at this point, so that's a little crazy.
Wow.
And we formed our comedy troupe in 99 and started up with a bunch of failed comedies that didn't hit. And then finally we stumbled upon Impractical Jokers. Had the TV show and now the movie that's out nationwide.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that. But back in high school, were you guys just the funny guys in the classroom? Were you guys doing this when you were 15, 16, 17 years old? When did this start?
No, I mean, this embarrassment comedy that we do is just basically the way we make each other laugh. Like, the show's more about friendship than anything else. It's the way that, when you mess around with your friends, it's the best way to live, right? So we decided to just put some cameras on and do it. So it started in high school for sure, of us just being, ourselves and making each other's laugh. And then eventually just made its way into this broader concept of, hey, why don't we show America how we make each other laugh? And people really latched onto it. We've been very fortunate ever since.
By the way, I want to also say that this movie is showing in Las Vegas, Impractical Jokers, the movie.
Finally.
Yes,
finally
it is.
It is, because that was one of the hate we got online. We're like, hey, we love you in Vegas. Vegas is one of our favorite towns. We've been there a bunch. I personally love Las Vegas, and I'm there all the time. And people, were like, hey, it's not playing here in Vegas. So we had to start with a limited release of 360 theaters.
Right.
And then our fans came out, really supported, and now it's nationwide.
Yeah.
Great. So now it's out there. And now we need people to go see it this weekend.
I am absolutely going to see it this weekend. So you guys have to say and do some brutal things. I mean, it's brutal what you guys do. The situations you get yourselves into. Can you explain and just give maybe an example or two, yourself personally, some of the most brutal things and uncomfortable things that you have had to do in certain situations on this show?
Yeah, I mean, the show is, the format basically is, and the movie, that we have to do, these challenges, and if you lose, whoever loses the most gets punished. So the same idea is forth in the movie. For the TV show, I think one of the hardest things I had to do was they took me to a MLB game, a Major League Baseball game, and at the Mets game, and there was star pitcher Noah Syndergaard was signing baseballs and throwing them into the stands, and I had to steal them from fans and children that were looking to catch the ball and tell them that they could go get them on my eBay page. And there's one moment, the boys made me take a woman had her 2-year-old kid she was holding. I was like, oh, give me the kid, I'll get a ball for her. So I held it, and Noah was in on the fun, so he threw a ball to me, and then I gave the child back but kept the ball, and the woman just lost her mind.
Have you had a situation where, and that's hilarious, by the way. Have you had a situation where somebody like threatened you physically, or you thought you were in serious physical harm because of doing these types of things?
No, for the most part. I mean, our show is, one of the barometers is we really are just embarrassing ourselves, and we want the reaction is not. It's not like a boiling point. We're not trying to get people mad. A lot of the times if people are getting mad at us, we're not doing our job right. It's really just to embarrass ourselves, make ourselves uncomfortable. The perfect reaction for people is, "Oh, this guy's crazy," or "What's going on here?" kind of feel.
Right.
There's been times where people haven't been in the mood for it, for sure.
No question.
Having a bad day, and here we come being dopes.
I definitely think that separates you from a show like a Punk'd or a Jackass, where it's kind of a low-brow humor. When I look at Impractical Jokers, I think a high-brow humor. What do you think separates you from those two shows?
I really think it's that we punch sideways, to each other. We're not out, and we are just in a place where the show's more about friendship. Everybody always talks about that they really relate to our show because our friendship is on display, and that's at the foreground of our show. It's more of a hidden camera comedy that highlights a friendship more than anything else, and I think that's what people have really taken to.
So let's talk a little bit about, Joe, about this movie, Impractical Jokers, the movie. As I said, it opened in theaters Friday, February 21st, and now you can check it out in Vegas. Also, you have some appearances featuring Paula Abdul, who I've had a crush on since I was 10 years old. I think she's the reason why I went through puberty. Also, Jaden Smith. Jaden Smith is, that might have been a little bit too much information. Jaden Smith is in this movie also. Joey Fatone. I had a recent run-in with Joey Fatone in a Las Vegas elevator. It was a very interesting conversation we had. It was an inappropriate conversation about the women he's been with. But Joey's a great guy. He's very funny, very down to earth. Yeah, so tell me a little bit about some of these stars you have in this movie and how they got involved.
Yeah, Vegas is on, right? Paul's got a residency there in Vegas now.
He does, yep.
It's been great. I mean, we befriended Fatone a while ago. We found out he knew the show, whatever. He brought him and his daughter to set, and then when they came to set, we just had the idea, Q had the idea, I was like, hey, do you want to go take my turn? And he did. And he played a waiter for us, and he put the earpiece in, and we had fun with him. But then with Paula, like you said, she's quintessential 90s for all of us.
Right.
Loved her, and we had in the scripted portion, the movie is mostly hidden camera challenges, like 90%, but there's a loose narrative in which we ruin a concert, and we said, who's more the person of the 90s than Paula Abdul? So we wrote it into the script. She was our number one choice. We sent it over to her people, and she's a fan of the show. She's watched the show, loved it, and said, sure, right away. So that was unbelievable to us.
What is that like for you, Joe? Because you guys strike me as just regular, everyday guys that enjoy life and want to have a good time. You're just like a regular dudes, right? So what is it like when you see, I think it's fair to call Paula Abdul sort of an icon. What is it like 100%. For you when you meet somebody for the first time like a Paula Abdul, and she actually says to you that she's a fan of yours? Like, what does that feel like? What is that like for you guys?
It's insane. I mean, you don't realize the reach that you have because we're just making our show, kind of under the radar for a while and just making it, having a good time. It's got this cult following of these diehard fans, and then you go and you hear things like it's insane that Paula knew the show. In this week's episode, we're airing season 8 right now. We actually, Jeff Daniels is on the show.
Oh, that's awesome.
A fan of the show as well. We went to see him in To Kill a Mockingbird here on Broadway, and then he mentioned, hey, I would love to come, and we had him, and his challenge airs tonight, he was fantastic. And I'm like looking at myself and my friends. I'm like, we're working with Jeff Daniels right now, who we all love and laugh at.
Awesome,
amazing actor, So. It's definitely not lost on us. It's surreal all the way through, and we have our fans to thank for that.
So before you guys were doing your show, and obviously he's still doing a lot of funny things. One of my favorites is Sacha Baron Cohen. I think he's brilliant with his movies and the Ollie G show back in the day. Sure. That's always a guy that I looked up to, and the reason why I got into radio was Howard Stern. I used to listen to Howard Stern on a daily basis. So for you guys, and for you personally, Joe, what were some of the people that you grew up, maybe comedians, or impractical jokers that did some stuff similar to yours? What were some of the people growing up that you guys watched that you kind of like to, I don't want to say emulate, maybe that's because you guys do your own thing, but some of the people that you looked up to growing up?
Yeah, sure, like influences in comedy.
Sure.
Absolutely. For me, I'm a big physical comedian, so like Mel Brooks and the way Gene Wilder used everything about his face and body was unbelievable for me growing up. David Zucker, the airplane movies, Naked Gun.
Yeah, those are great.
All those gimmicks and things,
yep.
Was huge for me. As far as stand-ups go, I always enjoyed stand-up comedy, but I was always more of a physical comedy guy. Three Stooges.
Sure.
Unbelievable for me. Abbott and Costello, all those old school guys who just use their body as a comedic weapon. I definitely emulate, and I think a lot of people say, that about me, that they could see a little bit of that influence from me.
You know, it's funny you bring up physical comedy. So we had Kevin Farley on a couple days ago, and we basically agreed that there hasn't really been a physical comedian like Chris Farley, you know, since Chris Farley. Would you agree with that?
100%. I think Farley, you know, broke the mold in a lot of ways because he was more than a fat guy that was funny. He was a guy, I really believe if he wasn't even like overweight, I think he would be just as funny. Like some guys just use their fat as funny.
Right.
You know, right. I think that he just had a way to know to use his body and a confidence about it, which is phenomenal.
So if you're just joining us again, Joe Gatto on the line with us. New movie out called Impractical Jokers, just released Friday, February 21st. You can catch it in Las Vegas. Also, of course, True TV. You catch. They're filming season 9 right now, but season 8 is on True TV Thursday nights. Okay, Joe, this will be my last question for you. For people that are thinking of catching this movie, even if they're not familiar with your show, give me a preview that would be different than, say, just going on YouTube and watching a preview of your movie. Give me a rundown on exactly what you guys are doing in this movie and why should people check it out.
Well, the thing about the movie that we really loved was there was ideas. We always generate ideas for the show, right? We do, you know, we've done over 200 episodes at this point, and we've always had to come up with ideas, and sometimes the ideas are just way too big for TV, either by budget or to see them on a small screen. And we always just kept those ideas. And now when the movie came and people were asking about the movie, you guys should do a movie, we're like, well, we have the ideas. And then the network was like, okay, let's make one. And we basically were able to pull off all these things that we thought were huge that would be able to show the world. And it really, really did pay off in a way that, you know, genuine surprises to each other. We had no idea what was coming. It's all big scale. It's all, but it all holds true to what people love about the show, which is really at its core, it's us having fun with each other in a really big way. You know, like Sal's afraid of cats. So
right.
But in the movie, you know, we use a tiger.
That's great.
All right, Joe. So for those of you, this is my last question. For those of our listeners who don't know what Impractical Jokers is, break down for me what makes each individual member funny and who is the funniest Impractical Joker in your opinion, respectively.
I think we're all funny in our own way, but I will always say, Sal and I always said about each other that we were the funniest guys we know. You know, Sal could say any sentence for me, and he just has a way to pronounce words sometimes that is just hysterical to me. Sal's probably the funniest guy I know, but to each their own. I mean, Q's got a dark humor that he taps into in a way and still stays likable, which is funny. And then Murray is just owns his oddness, you know, and he just owns it in a way that makes you love him.
Yep.
You know, and they all think I'm the funniest. So if you ask them, it'd be me.
Well, that's why we had you on, Joe. That's why we picked you. No, in all seriousness,
you guys picked the best. I mean, it's Vegas. What are we doing here?
Of course, we had to pick the best, obviously. Well, Joe, thanks so much for taking the time to join us, my man. I love what you guys do. I'm a big fan of the show. I can't wait to check out this movie, and maybe we could get you in studio when you come back to Las Vegas.
I love it. I'm through Vegas all the time, man. I would love to come.
Would love to have you in studio, man. Thanks so much for your time, Joe. Really do appreciate it. We'll keep in touch, and good luck with this movie. I know it's going to do extremely well.
Cool. Thank you. Well, everybody go see it.
All right. Absolutely. There you go.
Thanks a lot, Joe.
Thanks for your time, Joe. We appreciate it. That's Joe Gatto. Impractical Jokers, the movie, is now out. This is not Jackass. This is very different than Jackass. They do things differently on this show. I would like to say, as much as I did like the Jackass stuff, this is a smarter comedy.
Exactly. It's higher brow.
Yeah. It's smarter comedy. I love the show on True TV. In fact, one of the sales guys, in fact, the sales manager was just walking by, Corey, I don't think you'd mind me saying that. He just held up a piece of paper as he was walking by the hallway that said, I think I'm paraphrasing here, but it says something like, my favorite show on TV. He's like a huge fan. And he actually just printed something out just so he could walk by and show me that. So obviously he's a big fan. And
thank you for the support for our show, Corey.
Yes. Well, you know, there's a lot of people that love this show, and I'm one of them. This isn't fake. I love this show. I think it's fantastic. And I didn't even know that this movie was in Vegas. So coming out in Vegas. So it's out now. I'm definitely going to check it out. In fact, I might check it out this weekend. Our thanks to Joe Gatto for coming on. All right, coming up next, rumors could be true that Desiree Reed-Francois could be the next athletic director at UCLA. It could be coming faster than you think. And why is the Review Journal burying this story? I'll explain what that means coming up next. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
Thinking about life insurance? What if you could make one free phone call and learn your best price from nearly a dozen highly rated, price-competitive companies? Well, that's exactly what happens when you call SelectQuote Life. For example, George is 40. He was getting sky-high quotes from other companies because he takes meds to control his blood pressure. But when I shopped around, I found him a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $25 a month. I'm SelectQuote agent Dan Savino. And believe me, if SelectQuote isn't shopping for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-244-6060. That's 800-244-6060. 800-244-6060. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Tina Trenner is back, and she's on 720 AM, 1015 FM, KDWN, every Sunday at 12 p.m. She's sick of the nonsense and has something to say every Sunday at 12 p.m.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, or even with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Affordable term life insurance is out there. Call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-481-1458, 800-481-1458, or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too.
Distracted driving means danger.
StopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Coming up in about 10 minutes or so, Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports will be with us. And I know everybody looks forward to the hate mail segment. All the hate mail that I get on social media, our producer, Jason Stein, always loves that segment, and our listeners do as well. I know some people are listening just for that segment. Don't worry, folks. It's coming up here in just a little bit. But a story came out in the Review Journal earlier today. And by the way, I heard this rumor 18 months ago, and that is that UNLV Athletic Director Desiree Reed-Francois, her big goal was to be the next athletic director at UCLA. Well, now it appears as though UCLA is interested in her. And don't you tell me that if she was offered the job at UCLA right now, she wouldn't take it. She could say whatever she wants to say. I'm not going to listen to crap, okay? When she says, my focus right now is on UNLV. That's what she said. The bottom line is, if she got the call today, she would be out the door in a heartbeat. I don't care what she says. That is just the bottom line. But the question to me is not the story, because the story is not surprising. We all knew, at least many of us knew, except for the cowards that don't want to write about it or talk about it on the radio, but we all knew that this was a stepping stone job for Desiree Reed-Francois, and eventually she's going to land somewhere else. Did I think it would be this quickly? Am I saying it's 100%? No. But UCLA is saying that, yes, according to sources, that she is part of the pool of people that they may be interested in when I believe the athletic director steps down, which, if I'm not mistaken, it's either July 1st or August 1st. But here's something that is very interesting, because this is a big story. You have UNLV's athletic director that is being rumored, circulated to maybe be the next athletic director at UCLA. Stein, what can you tell us about this? Is the Review Journal burying this story? What is going on?
I think it goes beyond rumor. I think she was actually mentioned in a San Jose Mercury news story. Mm-hmm. So that is a rumor. She's in the mix. Right. Of course, she's downplaying it. But yeah, the thing that we found interesting about it is, and I love this because I love the media business, where newspapers decide to place things in the paper. Now, in my opinion, even though this is based on another report, probably could be front page news on page A.
It's a big story.
Yeah, I mean, it could be in that mix, but it's fine. It's not. So let's talk about the sports page from today's Review Journal. The editor decides to put this thing on page 4C. And it's just like a little blurb. And it's written by Mark Anderson, who's a great journalist, a great reporter.
Mark is a great guy.
And we love him.
Yep.
But this is not his fault. This is the editor who decided, hey, we're going to put this thing on page 4. So here's what you guys tell me. I mean, you're more sports-minded than me. Does this belong on the front page of the sports section over the Desiree Reed-Francois report? I don't know. Vintage flower fuels Knights. So it's about the Vegas Knights winning the game last night. And then, of course, Ed Graney's story, opinion piece on the side there. Yeah.
What was the opinion piece on?
Knights showing who's boss in the Pacific.
You know what? I think that the Knights should be ahead of UNLV and with Desiree Reed-Francois. Okay. I think she should be on the bottom of the front
well,
page.
Here's what was on the bottom.
Yeah.
Below the fold, as they say in the newspaper business. Raiders receptive to bounty of draft options at wide receiver. Did that need to be there?
No, that could be a second
generic,
page.
isn't
I
it?
mean, the Raiders are still a very big deal. I mean, but the conversation comes down to professional versus collegiate sports. So, what page is Desiree Francois on exactly?
Page 4.
She should
That's
be
absurd.
she should be at worst on the second
Page 2 is
Who's
not,
the editor of this of the sports section?
What is it, Bill
top of it.
Bill something?
What's his name?
I don't remember.
Not Bill Bradley. Isn't that Bill Bradley, the
I think
former
I think
NBA player turned
his name-
politician?
No, I think it actually is Bill Bradley.
It is
that
Bill
his name?
Bradley.
Yeah. Well, good job,
The
Bill.
guy who told us we
William-
couldn't have any of his reporters on the show anymore.
Good job, Bill. You do a fantastic job in
Now,
the Review
that being
Journal.
said, Mark Anderson did write a pretty good piece about it.
Well, that's our point.
He's the best, man.
That's
Yeah,
our
he is.
point.
He's very,
It
very
should have
good.
been on the front page of the sport. In fact, you could make the argument it could have been very small on the front page of the paper.
That's what I said.
When the
yeah.
athletic director, let me just read this real quickly. By the way, speaking of Ed Graney, who does his opinion pieces, who I think is wrong about 90% of the time, who carries himself like he is God's gift to writing articles on sports. That's just my personal
Do you think
opinion.
his hair piece is better than yours right now?
I'm not fake like him.
It's the same color.
If I'm bald, I shave my head. I don't have a comb over. So Ed tweets this on social media. You guys tell me if I was inappropriate here. This is Ed Graney trying to be funny because now he also thinks he's not only an all-star sports writer, but he's also a comedian. He writes on social media yesterday, I'm telling you, man, VGK could pull Raiders owner Mark Davis out of his front row seat, throw a sweater over that white shirt, hand him a pair of skates, and he'd score a goal in his first game with the team, even while wearing his jeans. This stuff is crazy. Hashtag Nick Cousins. Ha, 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 ha. Here was my response.
I don't even know what that means.
Well, he's just trying to be funny. It's just ridiculous. So here's my response. My response was, you have a great future in writing jokes, almost as funny as some of your articles. That's all I wrote.
He could write for the Impractical Jokers.
He could.
All right.
He
So
could.
anyway, page 2, UNLV wins. That's an important story. That could have been on the front page. They went the first round bye in the Mountain West tourney. Page 3, Raiders relocation, top prospect, admires the talents of our running back Jacobs. Something about the combine. Page 4, NFL labor deal.
Can I tell you, Stein?
And then after all that is this little thing about Desiree Reed Francois.
Stein, can I give you my reason why
Yeah,
they
yeah,
did
yeah.
that? This is my opinion, okay? It has nothing to do with Mark Anderson, who is a great writer and a friend, and he does a great job.
He doesn't decide
I'll
where
tell
they
you
put
what
his
this has to do with,
article.
because the people who make these decisions for the sports section, in my personal opinion, are wussies. And the reason why they're wussies is because they don't want to get anybody upset at UNLV.
They don't want to lose their
Yeah,
access.
Yeah, exactly.
Or they think it doesn't have legs and it's just a rumor and it's not going anywhere. And then it doesn't deserve to be on the first or the second page, but it should be at the bottom of the first page in my
You're
opinion,
right,
because-
and rumors and innuendo don't necessarily need to make the front page.
Right.
But in this case, this came from the San Jose Mercury News, who's also a reputable newspaper, and her name, from what I can see, her name was mentioned in that story. So this is not conjecture. This is
and
this
Brian,
is a real thing.
Brian and I have gone over this ad nauseum. I mean, 10 plus times. We've said that Desiree Francois is here. She is making a stop, and she is extending her career. That's why she's making these conservative hires, like T.J. Otzelberger, like Marcus Arroyo. That's why she's not going out.
Doesn't want to rock the boat.
Exactly. She wants to just make the conservative hire. Now, I think Otzelberger has been a very good hire. No, obviously the verdict is out on
So
Arroyo,
far.
but this has been a conversation that's been happening for the better part of the year. So I think it should, considering the fact that, in my opinion, it does have legs. But it should
And by
be.
the way, she went to UCLA. I didn't know that.
Absolutely.
She was a student there, and she was a rower.
Listen, 18 months ago, not even that long after she was hired, by the way, I heard from a very, very good source that is close to the UCLA situation and close to some people that are very close to her that told me that one of her goals, or dream job, would be to be the athletic director at UCLA.
And,
So
and
listen,
you know what? And that's an amazing job. I'm sure it pays
she'd be crazy
millions
not to
of
take it.
dollars, and more power to her. Congratulations if she gets that done. But this isn't about her. It's about the newspaper not following through.
burying the story. Listen, I don't blame her for reacting the way she did. She said, what's she going to say? Yeah, I want to be there. I want to be there right now. Of course she's not going to say that. I don't blame her for that.
My focus is on UNLV.
Of course she's going to say that. That's the political answer, and I don't blame her for saying that. That's the professional answer. What I blame is a newspaper burying a story like that because they're afraid that they might lose access or they might piss somebody off. What the hell are you doing? Do your due diligence. You have a really good writer who covers the team. Put it on the front page. What a bunch of cowards
not
over
just
there.
a good writer, a juiced in. There isn't a writer in Las Vegas who has more connections to UNLV than Mark Anderson.
Well,
there just isn't.
The only other person that I would say would be more juiced in would probably be Jose Canseco. He's very juiced in. But with that being said, yes, we like Mark Anderson. He's a great writer. He does a good job over there. And again, it's another example of the pandering that happens with some of these publications and, quite frankly, some of these radio stations. You know, do you think that some other radio stations in town are going to do 30 minutes? and talk about Francois and be honest about it, how she wants to be at UCLA? Of course not, because they pander, because they kiss ass.
And again, it's not like we're saying that she is a bad person for doing this. We're actually saying
absolutely not.
You should do it. I mean, that UCLA is a top 10 job for an athletic director, in my personal opinion.
I'm not sure I would hire her at UCLA.
Southern California, multi-million dollars. I mean, one of the most storied basketball franchises.
That's not what this is about.
I think she's done a good job here. But again, we're not just because we're
very
mentioning
early
it
here
doesn't mean we're criticizing her.
Very early here to give her an A+ grade.
I would be shocked if she's actually in consideration for this job, and I think that she is. I would be shocked if she didn't take it.
I'm sure she will, and it would not surprise me.
And I think she should.
The only question that I would have is we don't know if the football hire is going to work out. While I will agree with you that T.J. Otzelberger and his staff have done a good job so far, the word is still out. You can't make him. The season's not. Year one's not even over yet. So far, he's done a good job. But I don't.
Do you think that Kevin Kruger will get any head coach consideration after this year?
No, not after. Absolutely not. Not after year one. I think he needs a couple more years under his belt.
Because this defense looks really good.
Oh, he's done a fantastic job. His defense looks like his father's defense.
Exactly, and that's where the defense is coming from, is Kevin Kruger.
No question. And I'm a big fan of Kevin Kruger. As anybody knows, I'm a big fan of his father, Lon. They're a great family. Kevin is, I said this years ago when he was at Northern Arizona and got his first assistant coaching job. I said, Kevin is going to be a great head coach someday, just like his dad. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, TMZ Sports' very own Mike Babcock. You're listening to the Vegas Take 101.5 FM, 720 AM, K-Dawn.
Turning point for coronavirus in the U.S.
What this case points out is that people can get this virus even if they haven't traveled to China, even if they don't know anyone who has traveled to China or any of the coronavirus hotspots. That means really that anyone could potentially be at risk.
The Washington Post reports dozens of medical staff that treated the woman are now being monitored for signs that they have developed the virus. California Governor Newsom says his state is monitoring 8,400 potential cases, but he says testing is critical.
Point of contact diagnostic testing as our top priority.
Newsom says the federal government has provided an inadequate number of test kits for a crisis of this kind. On Wall Street, stocks again are in the red. The Dow down more than 630. I'm Mike Morris.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by your Southern Nevada Chevy dealer. Light slowing on the 95 northbound past Eastern to the Spaghetti Bowl. 15 southbound, moderate volume with a light slowing pattern between approaching Sahara to Spring Mountain, and an accident reported at Paradise at Russell. Still a factor. Injury sustained. Police and fire at the scene. Another injury crash has been reported at Cheyenne Avenue at Buffalo, affecting westbound. Celebrate President's Day at your Southern Nevada Chevy dealers. Choose from great cash back or lease offers or even low APR financing. Hurry to a Southern Nevada Chevy dealer and drive away in a new Chevrolet. John Michaels from the K-Dawn Traffic Center.
Listen to the Texas Corners Bible Church every Saturday night at 11 p.m. and Sunday night at 10 p.m. on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. K-Dawn.
If you're one of the millions of Americans who owes back taxes, if you get nervous when the mail comes because you might get a letter from the IRS, then you've heard. Their enforcement agents are cracking down this year and can garnish your paycheck, levy your bank accounts. Even your home or business could be at risk over unpaid taxes. It's all true, but it's also true there's a way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative, an important government program for tax debt assistance. The award-winning experts at Optima Tax Relief will fight to get you the best deal possible, protecting your paycheck and your assets from IRS collections. But don't delay, because the IRS is tacking on interest and hefty penalties every single day. So don't wait until it's too late. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922. Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, taking Nevadans to Capitol Hill for the latest on the federal issues that matter most to you.
Eye on Washington, Saturday morning at 9:30 on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, K-Dawn.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, K-Dawn.
right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Also broadcasting live on our YouTube channel, which is the Vegas Take. Check us out all over social media. Of course, we're on Twitter at the Vegas Take, Instagram, everywhere. We're everywhere. Check us out. But we always enjoy our comments on YouTube. We'll get to that coming up here in just a little bit. And TMZ's Mike Babcock will be joining us here in a few minutes as well. So if you recall, and a reminder, by the way, too, I forgot to bring this up. This is fun. This is a band, a group, hip-hop artists. They had a ton of movies in the 90s. I was a big fan of these guys. Do you remember the band Kid and Play? How can we forget Kid and Play? I'm not even going to try singing it. Ain't gonna hurt nobody. Sorry, I had to do that. Apologize. Anyway, Chris Reed, Kid from Kid and Play, will be joining us in studio tomorrow. He is now a stand-up comedian, and he's doing some shows in Vegas this weekend. So Kid from Kid and Play will be joining us in studio. Also, the Oakland A's general manager will be joining us on the line tomorrow. The reason why? Big League Weekend in Las Vegas. That's right. Big League Weekend, and the A's are in town. Of course, we need to support them. Their AAA affiliate is right here in Las Vegas. God, the baseball season is right around the corner. What better time to see baseball, especially professional baseball, than right now when the weather is perfect? It's beautiful out there. So Chris Reed from Kid and Play and Oakland A's general manager will be joining us on the line tomorrow as well. So that will certainly be a lot of fun. I talked a little bit about the fight I went to last weekend. Fury fight against Wilder. And I told you that I got a tip about an hour before the fight. It's a tip that I never received from this person before. Somebody, a friend of a friend that is close to the Deontay Wilder camp, that said, do not bet on Wilder, bet the opposite. And when I watched the fight, almost from the immediate onset, Wilder was just getting destroyed. He lost every round. In the second round, he got knocked down. And his balance was off. He wasn't aggressive. He wasn't the Deontay Wilder that all of us are accustomed to watching. Fury just took him to school, just absolutely destroyed him. And it was so bad, I said to myself, I don't think Wilder deserves another fight with this guy. It was such an embarrassing performance. It was similar to, actually, I would say this performance was even worse than the Manny Pacquiao performance when he fought Floyd Mayweather. And that was just one of the worst fights I've ever seen. It was so boring. And that's why I said, I don't want to see another fight. I don't want to see those two back in the ring. But this situation now, the excuse that Deontay Wilder is making is one of the worst excuses in the history of the sport for a lackluster performance. In fact, I'm even going to go a step further. It's one of the worst excuses in the history of sports, not just boxing. So Deontay Wilder right now.
See, I disagree with that, Brian.
Deontay Wilder right now is saying that the reason why he didn't fight well, or the reason why he didn't perform well, he's not saying it was because he was up last night, the night before gambling. He's not saying he was drinking. He's not saying there was a death in his family or, whatever the case might be, which I think would be a legitimate reason. He's saying the outfit he wore, which was a 40-pound outfit, so he claims, that he wore into the ring was so heavy and he wasn't used to it. He just tried it on, he said the night before, quickly. He said he didn't have any legs in the fight because of the outfit he was wearing, which is one of the most outrageous and embarrassing excuses I have ever heard in my life. And you are doing a disservice to the sport. He didn't look like he was in as good a shape that he normally had been in. Maybe he didn't train properly. I don't know what the reason is. All I would say is he is a disgrace. And now his career is forever be tarnished for the way he's handled this loss, not just because of his performance in the ring, not just because of that, but the way he has acted and the excuses he has made in the days now and weeks after the fight. JD, this excuse is ridiculous. It is utterly ridiculous.
I don't think there's a ton of truth to it, but it definitely affected him to some degree. Here's the thing about Deontay Wilder. He's only 6'7". I say only because Tyson Fury is 6'9". Deontay Wilder, and I'll give credit to Kelso, who's actually our video guy. He's an amateur boxer himself. He told me that, when you put on Deontay Wilder, he put on 25 pounds for this fight. He fought at the heaviest weight he's ever fought on. That extra 25 pounds plus the 40, 50 pounds from the outfit he was wearing, I think it probably did affect his legs a little. But also when I saw him take off that outfit, just his eyes, he was just looking around the ring like he wasn't really sure, like his equilibrium was already off. He just didn't seem like the Deontay Wilder that I know. He just seemed like he wasn't really in the game the entire time now. And then after the fight, he said, and this had nothing to do with the costume, but he said, I've had a lot of stuff going on in my life. I've had a lot of issues. And there's been talk that maybe he had a leg issue of some sort as well. I wouldn't call it one of the biggest excuses embarrassing the sport. I mean, 40 pounds plus 25 pounds, that's 65 pounds. That's a lot of weight.
Well, I'll tell you
and how long did he have that costume on for?
All right, well, let me explain.
45 minutes, an hour plus walking. I'm just saying. I don't think that obviously that's the reason why he lost the fight. But
that's absurd.
I think it's more because he put on the weight and his legs weren't used to putting on that much weight, and that's why he didn't have. If you looked at his video, his upper body was very thick and broad. Usually he's very linear. He's kind of proportionate. He looked very top heavy in that fight. Now Tyson Fury, he's 6'9", 270. He has no problem putting on that weight. Deontay Wilder does. So I think that Deontay Wilder, the excuse he should make is that, hey, I shouldn't have fought at that weight because my legs weren't ready for it.
Well, let me explain to you my frustrations with UFC and boxing, especially boxing today. And that is this. Back in the day, Mike Tyson didn't have to wear a crazy outfit and get in the ring. You know what the show was with Mike Tyson? You know what the entertainment factor was with Mike Tyson? Guess what?
His punching, exactly.
He knocked people out.
Right.
It was actually how exciting he was in the ring. I'm so tired of these idiots that get in the ring, okay? And all the excitement and all the entertainment is everything but the actual fight itself.
It's all about the show. Have you ever actually watched Deontay Wilder fight, though, Brian? I mean, he has arguably the most devastating puncher since Mike Tyson.
Yeah, well, guess what? He didn't do it.
He has almost killed 7 people in the ring.
He didn't do it over the weekend.
That's true, but Deontay Wilder is one of the most entertaining boxers alive. Mike Babcock will attest to that.
Let's ask Mike Babcock. He joins us right now, TMZ Sports. Mike, thanks for joining us, my man. How you doing?
What's up, Mike?
What's up, guys? How are you?
Good.
Doing well.
So we're talking about this Deontay Wilder excuse. I think it's absurd. This 40-pound outfit he wears into the ring, now saying he doesn't have legs. What can you tell us about this?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I actually talked to the guys who made the costume earlier today. These guys have been making these costumes for Deontay Wilder for a long time now. Deontay Wilder has said it so many times that he wants to put on a show, not just inside the ring, also ring walk and wants to give people, make it worth their money if they come out to see the fight. But, it seems silly to me. Deontay Wilder, he weighs 230 pounds. He's one of the best athletes in the world. The fact that he couldn't carry something that weighed 40 pounds for a few minutes, and it would affect him so greatly that he just got dominated in the boxing ring. It seems absurd to me, and I think it's frankly it's below Deontay Wilder. I think Deontay Wilder is a good person. I think he's a fierce competitor. I thought inside the ring after the fight, I thought he handled it very well. I thought he was gracious in defeat. I think he gave Tyson Fury his due, and I don't know what happened after that made him kind of concoct this excuse that to me, and I think most people, it's just pretty ridiculous.
I think solely blaming it on the 40 pounds is over the top. But Deontay Wilder put on, 25 pounds for this fight, Mike? I mean,
he was 230 pounds heavier than he's ever been for a fight before, and you're right. It doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry, I'm distracted. I'm walking next to LeVar Ball right now, literally.
Tell LeVar we say hello because LeVar was actually on our show.
And you know what? And tell LeVar that his son is a monster.
Which one?
Yeah, LaMelo.
Yeah, LeVar's actually a good dude, especially when the cameras are not on him. I will say that.
He really is.
Yeah, I like it.
But Mike, do you think
my game there? I was like,
do you think that Deontay Wilder just?
As I'm trying to talk.
Sorry, do you think that Deontay Wilder just looked kind of top heavy in the fight? Because I do.
You think he looked too heavy?
Top heavy.
Top heavy?
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's always a little top heavy. He has kind of skinny little legs. I think that's just how he's built. I don't know. I've been searching. I'm trying to find an answer for why he looked the way he looked. And I don't have a good reason. Deontay Wilder's never been a boxer, right? He's a puncher, and he's been okay before, but he just couldn't land any big shots. And Tyson Fury too. Tyson Fury, that's what I took, because I talked to Tyson Fury before the fight, and he told me and everybody else that would listen that he was going to come out, he was going to knock Deontay out, he was going to be aggressive, and I thought it was just trying to put that thought out there, get that in Deontay's head. So
no question.
He did just that. And that's what surprised me. I don't know. I don't know if it's the extra weight. Like with me, he's never been that heavy, and he just lost for the first time. So maybe there is some correlation there, but it's confusing. Not the way I thought. I thought Tyson Fury fought the fight of his life the first time, and I thought Deontay knocked him out somewhere around the 7th, 8th round, and it was completely the opposite.
Not me. I took Fury the knockout.
Did you pick Fury?
3-1. I picked knockout Fury.
Mikey. Brian got a very, very big, we'll call it a secret tip from a really successful professional poker player. So he was given some information on the inside.
That's a hell of a bet.
Yeah, well, I did get some inside information from somebody that is very close to the Wilder camp. I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. When you live in Vegas for a long time, you do get to know certain people that have certain opinions on certain fighters. I'll leave that one alone.
Next time you get a tip like that, text me though.
Well, but sports. So are you saying you're going to bet illegally, Mike Babcock? Come on, sports betting's not legal in California yet. Is Harvey your bookie?
You know what, Mike?
I have like my sister put a bet in, and one of my buddies put a bet in New Jersey.
Exactly. We can work out an informal arrangement where I make your wagers for you.
I can see Harvey being the TMZ bookie over there. I can totally see that happening. Hey, I want to talk a little bit about some Houston Astros players getting tagged, which I love to hear about. Astros Alex Bregman, he was drilled in the back in this spring game, and the question you have on TMZ, is it the first of many? Tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, I think it's been a handful of games, 5 games, only 7 guys hit. That's a higher rate than would normally be hit in regular season games. I think this is a debate that's happening right now, and our guys getting hit on purpose in spring training. Will this carry over to the regular season? I don't know that there's anything to this yet. These are guys who just throwing for the first time this weekend. That pinpoint control is not there yet.
Sure.
Further, these guys, if you look, Altuve was hit. Bregman, like you said, both off-speed pitches. Altuve got hit on the foot. Bregman with a breaking ball in the back. I think if you're going to try to send a message, you want to hit somebody. You're not.
And Bregman said he didn't think it was and in your article, you quote Bregman as saying that he thought it wasn't intentional as well. I think that's important. Yeah.
Right. Look, when guys start getting fastballs in the back, then maybe I'll change my mind. Right now, I think it's just probably a coincidence. But it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, in fact, I would be surprised if they weren't. At least a couple guys weren't hit once the season gets going.
Right. Well, fair enough. And we actually have Big League Weekend coming up this weekend. I wanted to ask you in closing about Kobe Bryant. Obviously, I know this happened earlier in the week. We've covered it all week long. I don't know if you were actually in the building covering that, but certainly emotional to hear Kobe's wife, Vanessa, talking about her 13-year-old daughter. And I thought the most emotional part for me was talking about her daughter. Won't be able to see her daughter walk down the aisle, get married, have children of her own. Just give me some of your highlights and some of the moments that touched you in that Kobe Memorial at Staples Center.
Yeah, I think like you, Brian, I was incredibly impressed with Vanessa that she was able to go up there and to talk like she did. And some of those things were just so heartbreaking. I mean, I'm sure, I'm sure you guys too. It was so upsetting just to hear her talk that Gigi wouldn't get to have a wedding and, all those things that you're supposed to be able to have and experience in life. She's not going to get that. And for Vanessa to go up there the first time that she's publicly spoken since Kobe and Gigi's death and to be able to do that, I think that was my number one highlight. And then I thought it was pretty cool to see Michael Jordan up there in a way that you really don't see Michael Jordan. We know Michael is probably the most competitive guy we've ever seen, and it's a lot of times it's about Michael. You think back to his Hall of Fame speech, and it's like he's always so competitive. But that was a side of him there that I hadn't seen before, and I didn't know that Michael and Kobe had that friendship, and I don't think a lot of people know. I think people thought there was a rivalry there. But to hear him, talk about Kobe the way he did, and to openly cry up there, on national television and in a building full of 20,000 people, I thought that was also a really nice moment. And some of the jokes were funny, the crying Jordan stuff. That was
the meme
nice.
joke.
It was a really, it was such a somber day, and you need those moments of levity. So I thought the Jordan joke and obviously the Shaq joke too about the me being in team. I thought those were funny moments. But I was incredibly impressed with Vanessa, and I don't think there's many people that would have been able to do what she did up there.
Totally agree, Mikey. 2 football questions for you. Is Joe Burrow's career over now that he only has 9-inch hands? And Tom Brady, apparently the conversation is Tom Brady will not end up a New England Patriot. Who's getting Brady? Is it the Titans, the Raiders, the Chargers? Who do you think gets him?
I still think he's going back. I've seen all the stories today. I still don't buy that he's leaving. I do think the Titans make a lot of sense, though, with him and Vrabel being best friends, and obviously also L.A. I think the Chargers. I think Los Angeles is somewhere that Tom would like to wind up with his family eventually one day. So I could see that happening as well. I see some people saying the Giants. That doesn't make any sense.
No.
I don't know why Tom Brady would want to go to the Giants right now, and I don't know why the hell the Giants would want Tom Brady when they need, they have like 40 other holes on that team. So, why the Giants? That doesn't make sense. So my money's still on the Patriots. If I had to guess, but I could see the Titans and the Chargers as well.
All right, Mr. Babcock, always appreciate it when you join us every Thursday. Thanks so much. I know you're a busy guy. We'll let you get back at it. Say hello to LeVar for me. And
I'm gonna go find LeVar now. Yeah.
go find LeVar Ball. Mike, always love it when you come on, my friend. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys. You too.
All right, there you go.
Mikey.
It's Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports. Take a quick break. When we come back, it is our hate mail segment of the day. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
Looking for a new job? Meet face-to-face with dozens of great companies at the LasVegasJobs.com Job Fair. Thursday, February 27th at the Texas Station from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is your opportunity to meet with some of the best employers in the Valley, offering hundreds of real jobs. Be sure to dress for success, bring lots of resumes, and be ready to apply for your new job. You can go to LasVegasJobs.com now to print your VIP pass. Find your new job Thursday, February 27th at the Texas Station from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. For more info, go to LasVegasJobs.com. That's LasVegasJobs.com.
This is John Greenhut, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, Power Swabs is the answer. In 5 minutes, you'll see 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. Even better, there's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes, and you're done. To try Power Swabs, call 1-800-679-0969. Your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free. 1-800-679-0969. That's 1-800-679-0969.
Amid Las Vegas's glitz and glamour lurks the tragedy of homeless veterans, our nation's heroes who return from war but continue to fight a battle for survival on our city's gritty streets. The basic human need of shelter shouldn't be a luxury to military heroes, which is why there is Veterans Village. Veterans Village is a nonprofit organization providing transitional housing, meals, and social services to homeless vets to give them a hand up. Veterans Village is a place of hope, but we can't do it without you. Be a hero to heroes and donate any amount you can afford at vvlv.org. That's vvlv.org. vvlv.org. Amid Las Vegas's glitz and glamour lurks the tragedy of homeless veterans, our nation's heroes who return from war but continue to fight a battle for survival on our city's gritty streets. The basic human need of shelter shouldn't be a luxury to military heroes, which is why there is Veterans Village. Veterans Village is a nonprofit organization providing transitional housing, meals, and social services to homeless vets to give them a hand up. Veterans Village is a place of hope, but we can't do it without you. Be a hero to heroes and donate any amount you can afford at vvlv.org. That's vvlv.org. vvlv.org.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. By the way, quick reminder, tomorrow on the show, this is going to be a lot of fun. I grew up with those house party movies. Remember the group Kid in Play? And Chris Reed from Kid in Play, the Kid from Kid in Play, will be joining us in studio tomorrow. As I also mentioned, we have Big League Weekend right here in Las Vegas. The Oakland A's are going to be right in our backyard. And I believe it's against the Cleveland Indians. I believe the Indians are playing the A's, if I'm not mistaken. And we have the Oakland A's general manager on our show tomorrow. A lot of questions to ask about him, including, are the Oakland A's ever going to move to Las Vegas? That might be one of the questions I ask. But it is. Let's get down to business now, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for our hate mail segment of the day, brought to you by Jason Stein.
Well, we don't have a sponsor, so it's brought to you by me. So, go to our YouTube page at JD's. It's JD's Baby, His Brainchild. And on the right-hand side, you can comment and watch the show. And, like I said.
Let the games
and
begin.
The YouTube page is just the Vegas Take.
Yes.
Yep. That's
Go
it.
ahead, Stein. Let's
Okay.
hear some
I
hate
pulled
mail.
a couple from yesterday because they were so good and I didn't get to them. Captain Safety, whoever that is, writes, JD needs to have his own show. He's the only one of you two that makes any sense.
Okay. I don't know what that means, but okay. That's fine. JD.
Fair enough, Captain Safety.
I
Fair
think
enough.
this guy deserves his own YouTube show.
Pete,
Go ahead.
Pete writes, Pete writes sarcastically, I love listening to Brian breathe into the mic, which I have noticed, by the way. Have you noticed that?
I love listening to his girlfriend breathe into my chest after a makeout session. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You could have gone further with that.
I could have, and I
Yeah,
stopped
I'm
myself.
surprised you didn't.
Trust me. I could have gone more south. Would it be south? Yeah, north, south.
That's
yeah.
very anti-Brian. I wonder if this Trump visor is just changing your entire persona.
No comment.
It's like your sign is you move from a Sagittarius to a Gemini or something along those lines.
Fake Carolyn Haynes writes, I'm really starting to hate the show more and more each day. I couldn't agree more. Me too.
It's funny though. The fake account keeps watching every day. So yeah. Go ahead.
Drunker Moreno writes, one time Brian and I got drunk. We went streaking down Vegas Boulevard. His weenie had red freckles on it, and he was shaven. He probably has a toupee on his junk too.
Please, let me just say this: if there's anybody I have a fetish for, it's somebody that has some guy living in his mom's basement that has a fake Google account that obsesses over Michael Avenatti. I mean, that really turns me on. That's somebody I would definitely go streaking with. Go ahead.
I'm not sure that's that unfair of an assumption.
Go ahead.
You know what? There could be some truth.
Go
there.
ahead!
Mike Hyperbole. I like this one. Right to the point. Brian is garbage.
Well,
well put.
I'll tell you something I don't do with my garbage, and I only speak for myself.
Throw it away.
No. Let me explain. I don't watch my garbage 3 hours a day, and I don't comment on my garbage every day. That's usually something that I don't do with my garbage.
That being said, Mike, that was very succinct hyperbole. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
3 words, solid to the point.
Another gem from Drunker Moreno. Nice outfit, Brian. Do you go straight to work at the Wiener Schnitzel after this?
No, I go I go straight to your.
Which you would get if you were watching it, right? Red shirt and a red visor.
I go straight to the residence that he or she lives in and tell her mom that you should start charging your daughter or son for rent. That's what I do.
He actually does moonlight as a Sonic employee. He also sells popcorn at local movie theaters.
Yeah, and by the way, you're making fun of every single person that attends a Donald Trump rally because they wear red and they look even more ridiculous than I look today. So you're making fun of your own people.
And you're making fun of Wiener Schnitzel employees.
Yeah.
Which is a delicious fast food restaurant.
How many white people attend Trump rallies that wear a red shirt and wear a red Make America Great Again hat? You dope. You're making fun of your own people, you idiot. Go ahead, Stein.
Mike writes, said it before. Brian does his show prep by watching the Don Lemon show.
It's
Absolutely
actually not true. No, I don't watch Don Lemon.
Come on, that's true.
No, it's not true. I don't watch Don Lemon anymore. I don't.
You're boycotting Lemon?
No, I don't watch. I'll tell you what I do. I watch Chris Cuomo. Okay. I watch Jake Tapper.
Did you see the ash on Chris Cuomo's head yesterday?
Yeah.
He did his whole show with the ash on
I
his
saw that.
head.
I also watch Fox News. I watch Sean Hannity. I do. I listen to some radio. I listen to both sides, and then I make my own determination. I know that's hard for some of these people.
He does this completely nude.
That's half the time that's true.
Tanya writes, I sat behind Brian in high school math class. He had a beautiful mane of wavy red hair. He looked like Eric Stoltz's character in the movie Mask.
Did you see my response? I responded to that one. I did, actually.
Oh, you did?
Would you like to read my response?
Tanya was sitting behind me in high school. He had no friends then and no friends now. His only joy in life is to make fake accounts on Google, making fun of others for his shortcomings in life.
And I think it's a he, not a she, by the way. Go ahead,
you
Stein.
wrote he, I think.
Go ahead, Stein. That wasn't
Sam
funny.
writes, Brian, you are always outraged, and you clearly have low testosterone.
Actually, when you're bald, you actually have higher testosterone, but I find it interesting that a middle-aged man watching our YouTube page wants to calculate how much testosterone I have. I find that very interesting. He sounds like somebody that might have been a coach on the Ohio State wrestling team. Go ahead, Stein.
Mike, again, writes, you haven't said anything. We were talking about gun control earlier. You haven't said anything factual about guns.
Oh, really?
Brian, you instantly squeal, let's not get into the weeds.
I find it interesting that he doesn't name anything that I said that was not factual. He just makes generalizations. That's what idiots do when they can't have a debate. They don't actually come up with something specific. Like if somebody calls somebody, you're a liberal. Oh, really? What have I said on the show that would make you believe that I'm a liberal? What have I said on the show that is a lie? See, when I call Donald Trump a liar, I actually have facts to back it up. These people have no facts. They're just losers. Go ahead, Stein.
And I'm not sure if this is hate mail or
we have
not.
2 minutes. Go ahead,
It's
Stein.
a backhanded slap in the face, perhaps. But Sam writes, I'll give you some credit, Brian. Today you haven't said anything about whataboutism.
And I'll give you some credit, sir. I don't care about your backhanded compliments. Go away. Go ahead, Stein.
But that was truthful. Not
okay.
mentioned once today.
Pete writes, Brian, you are a hack with a raging liberal. Brian, you are a hack and a raging liberal.
Yeah, because liberals definitely do 90 minutes yesterday going after Bernie Sanders. Liberals definitely don't vote for Hillary Clinton. Liberals definitely are for the death penalty and immigration security at our borders. Liberals definitely would never vote for Barack Obama. Liberals definitely would vote for Mitt Romney and John McCain because that's definitely what liberals do. That's a very factual comment you just made, you dope.
Sam Henry wants to know, do your carpets match the drapes?
It's not surprising to me that somebody with a fake account on a Google page, probably a middle-aged man who starred in To Catch a Predator, a guy that starred in To Catch a Predator probably on our YouTube page,
a Google page,
is interested in knowing what my pubic hair looks like. Why am I not surprised? That's the kind of guy where Chris Hansen goes out of the kitchen and says, "Sir, why don't you have a seat and have a slice of that pizza?" That's the guy that talks about my pubes on the air.
Which is just more proof that Brian does relate or does consider himself a teenager.
By the way, can I answer that question though? It used to be red, but now I shave. Yes.
So you're bald on your head and you're bald in your pubic region.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
If you wanted to have,
you really shave?
Yes, I do. I take care of myself because unlike you, I do get laid. Yes, that's true. All right, that's it. Enough about my pubes.
You bathe yourself before you get laid, and then you don't bathe for about a week afterwards.
Well, that might be true, but we can talk about that tomorrow. We got to take a 21-hour break. Chris Reed from Kid and Play tomorrow. Also, the A's general manager will be joining us. We will not be talking about pubes with them. I promise you. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. Have a great day.